Excuse me. So obviously I was the former coach of Koi, so when I look at a ban phase I can figure things out and try and think about where the team is and where the team's come from, and immediately when I look at Koi's ban phase, this is night and day difference from what I would have gone for. With the new additions to the team, obviously like losing Spoit, dropping Kanto, you've basically lost your front line, and they had to replace them with Leader and Noodle. And as it's been said on the broadcast, and it's been said all over the places, that Leader's not necessarily that frontline player, but Noodle does fit the bill, does kind of fit the shoes of Spoit. But this ban phase, for me, is night and day difference for what we would have gone with originally. Throughout all of SI and leading up beforehand, like we had a specific set. We had an 8 out of 9 map pool. We didn't play Cafe. And looking at the maps Koi has banned, like banning, for example, Skyscraper and Border. If you go back and look at the SI statistics for Koi, like I'm pretty sure those two were like some of the highest preference maps we had. So for Koi to ban them shows a massive shift in dynamic off of not only map preference but play style. And we'll get into that when we actually load up the map. But yeah, I think Wolves starting out with a Cafe ban kind of shows to me either they're not happy with Cafe themselves or they're scared of Koi's Cafe, which obviously they probably shouldn't be scared of Koi's Cafe. Koi's Cafe versus Wild is pretty weak, whether that be nerves or whether that just be not enough practice on the map. So I think Wolves banning Cafe first is a big question mark in my mind. I think the only thing this shows is that Wolves has zero prep for Cafe, or they are not confident in their own Cafe. So this is a Wolves preference ban, then it is a counter ban. And this early on for Koi, they banned Theme. They have no idea what Wolves is up to. This is the first time Wolves have shown themselves on the broadcast. So at this point, it's probably in Koi's best interest to just ban maps that they're not comfortable with and hope that the remaining maps are ones that they are. This is the awkward point at the beginning of every single stage, where if a team's made a roster change or many roster changes, or the map pool has changed, or there's been reworks to maps and things like that, it is just a complete fucking dice roll. You've no clue. You've no clue whatsoever what the other team's preparing or going to bring out. The only thing that Wolves have to go off of is the previous ban phase, which is the Theme Club Villa Oregon. And this is a Theme Sky Border Oregon. So Theme and Oregon are the only consistent things, are the two themes first ban. It's probably safe to assume that they'll ban Theme again for the first. Oregon at the end is the only thing that's really consistent here. And Oregon, leaving it in this long is more of a, yeah, we're probably fine with it, but we kind of want you to ban it. Which leaves them with Cafe the first time around and Chalet. I'm looking over at Wolves' side. They banned Cafe, they banned Bank and Club. Bank and Club were two maps that Koi were very good at in SI 2023 and leading up to it, so those make sense. So I can see this as a Cafe is a we don't want Cafe, and Bank and Club is a respect ban. And I would probably say Villa is a same in line with Oregon. I think they banned Villa because they disliked it the most out of Oregon and Chalet, and wanted an Oregon or Chalet, which then left Koi with the decision of do we want to play Oregon or Chalet, which led to Chalet being the map. So all around, it's hard to say who really wins these types of ban phases so early on. I think the only way you can tell if someone's won the ban phase is later on when we get down to phase 2. Then we actually get a chance to see what teams like and what teams don't like, and you can start building preferences on your spreadsheets about who likes what. So ended up on Chalet. It's best to assume that Chalet, considering the bans, is a middle of the ground map for both teams. They don't like it, but they don't mind it, as in they're not going to pick it, but they don't mind if it's picked against them. So we're going to jump on over to the VOD. Do you think BDS won major because of honeymoon, like Rogue and G2 for 6? I mean, it's crazy these teams make changes and they run one after it. Feels like it's only a honeymoon thing. It could be a honeymoon thing, yes. I think with ourselves on Rogue winning Berlin, I would disagree that it was a honeymoon thing. I think what happened is when we arranged that roster in the way that we did, myself and Tristan, we very, very clearly defined what we wanted the team to be and how the team should play, given the roster that we had. And we ended up creating the meta that we're in right now. A Berlin Major Rogue set the meta for the next part of the year. And only now are we starting to see meta-breaking properties, which you saw mainly from G2, specifically in the Grand Finals. Which also then answers your next thing, how did G2 win SI? It's because they were the first team to try and innovate and break the meta. So you either build the meta, and then you break the meta, and then someone has to build the meta again. So right now we're in the meta-breaking stage, which is denying attackers as much as you possibly can. And on defense, it's preventing as much as you possibly can. You know, everything has a cost, essentially. But hey, if you want to know more about that, you gotta hire me and you gotta pay me. I enjoy your shorts. The barricade tip was great. Thank you very much, man. I got loads more coming. Loads more. I got like 45 more lined up. I was AFK a bit. Do you talk about why you ended up parting ways with Koi as it kept silent on the front for a variety of reasons? Well, I didn't part with Koi. I was kicked. They said they had a new... how do I explain this? They wanted to take the team in a different direction, and apparently myself and Kanto, we didn't fit the bill, so we were gone. Like I said, I don't talk about it much really, because there isn't really much to talk about. They just got us into a Discord channel, told us what was happening, and that was it. That's how pretty much it's done on every team. That's how it's been done over the past 7 years. It's unfortunately how I've had to do it to previous players on my team. It's standard. It's just how it goes. You tell them, you say your goodbyes, you wish them well, off you go. Who made the call? I don't know. I think the players made the call that they wanted to move the team in a new direction. Excuse me. Because I don't think... I had a pretty good relationship with management. For all its faults and flaws that the Koi and Koi's management has, I had a pretty good relation with them. So I don't think there was any kind of like vendettas or dislikes against me from management. I think it was just the players who wanted to move the team in a new direction, and myself and Kanto, unfortunately, we weren't a part of that. Obviously, with Sport getting bought out by M80, was probably a big wrench in their plans, unfortunately for them. But at the end of the day, if someone's going to throw a giant wad of cash at your best player, he's probably going to take it. Don't worry about it, Fable. I'll be fine. The rosters unlock in like 2 months, 3 months time, and I've got enough content planned to keep me busy. And if I'm going to start seeing any interest, it'll probably be towards the teams that don't qualify for the playoff stuff, for the last chance or for the early playoff things. So I'm not going to have to wait for too long, and hopefully you won't have to wait either. The new 4-day stage thing is so silly, at least in North America. Yeah, I'm very upset with the way that it's been done. It's very frustrating. It really shouldn't be best of ones. I'm so sick of best of ones. I'm so sick of corner cutting, and I'm so sick of trying to save as many pennies as you possibly can. It's so annoying. It should be best of threes. I'd like the format as it is now, the way that it's laid out, but it should be literally best of threes and you play one match a week and spread it out more. The players complained that they wanted more time off, and we've been complaining that we want more time off for like 7 years now. And every single time it's done wrong. Now we've got like months of time off if you don't want to go for minor events or whatever the fuck they're planning. Literally all we want is that when we finish the event, we want 1 month of nothing. We finished SI and your next match is 2 weeks later. What the fuck? Who thought that was a good idea? That qualifying for the biggest event of the year fucks you over when you want to qualify for the next one. It's so poorly designed. Poorly thought out. It needs changing. But they keep setting these like 1 year blocks in stone, and every time they say, oh, we'll change it next year, we'll change it next year, we'll change it next year. And it never gets changed. Or at least never gets changed for the better. Or all these months off will lead to a decrease Siege esports visibility. It's already happening. I'm not saying Siege is dying, but it's certainly drowning. And when you compare it to its competitors, like you have games like Valorant, which are just like kicking off. They're going crazy right now. Obviously, it's backed by Riot. They just throw money at it until it works. But we were a tier 1 esport for like 3 months, and then COVID hit, and yeah, we've never recovered since. Oh, Fable, that's a too bold of a question at this point, you know? I'm not saying like I'm desperate for work, but I just want to get onto a team where I can make an impact or a difference. It doesn't matter who I work with. I could join the bottom place LATAM team for like it literally is just about providing my services and of course being paid for my services. For me, the enjoyment in Siege now is seeing progress. I want to see people improve. I want to see a team improve. I want a player to realize they're making a misplay and like, I nearly fucked up, but I'm not fucking up now because I know better. And I want that to be a result of my coaching or an environment that I help produce. So it's not about who or where, it's just about what I can do. But yeah, I also agree with what you just said, Fable. It's not healthy for business. Anyway, let's jump in.
No, but what I'm saying is, you wouldn't turn
that down just a bit.
Wouldn't talk in those terms.
Right, Tim. So if
you've got this week, next week, and the weekend, you're just talking 1 week terms because it's a week in between each.
How much of a hand did you have in Koi Rogue bringing in a performance coach? Bernie was brought in at the same time as me.
Played it, so you'd say.
So we're in week 1 right
years
now.
ago.
Week off.
We're in week 1.
So Dokkaebi banned. Dokkaebi is the most overpowered operator in the game right now. She's been removed. That's normal. Nook ban from Koi is questionable. Cryan infamously known for his Nook plays, so Koi banning it is a head scratcher, but I guess they have something in plan, something planned or something in mind. Valkyrie, that's pretty straightforward, pretty standard ban. I think the interesting one there is they're not banning Mira. When we were a team, we did not like Mira very much, but I guess with the new players coming in, they've changed a lot of ideas and thoughts, and instead defaulting for the Valkyrie ban for Chalet to try and deny as much information as possible. It is so easy on Chalet to hide a Valkyrie camera. The ceilings are really high, it's full of fucking bushes, it's so easy to hide a camera. So Valkyrie ban makes perfectly fine sense. Echo ban is just the counter deepeK. Pretty straightforward.
Just gonna be a child. That's why. You were still doing this silly giggle, and I knew that.
I'm surprised not many more teams ban Echo against Koi, because deepeK has essentially solidified himself as the best Echo of all time. Like, I don't give respect to Redeemer and back in the days, but now deepeK is the best Echo player in the game. And probably the best Echo player we've ever had.
You weren't going to come back and talk about the bands, that's why I just gave up on it. I was like, right, I'll do this then.
This is highly unprofessional, Tim. I really wish you wouldn't rant like this on a professional broadcast.
Ridiculous.
It's the start of last new season and you're You're really letting your emotions take over.
I'm not biting anymore.
So we're going to skip just a little bit. I'm mainly trying to keep an eye on where Koi's drones are moving. It's got one in the drone hole facing bar, one in the drone hole by the A-bomb, one outside of main door, and Noodle's just driving his around.
Wolves is that new player coming in. We've got Deadshot, who is going to be on the Asami this time around, taking over.
Okay, so the main door drone is moved towards dining room. It's fine. One drone is dead. Okay, so that's all 4 drones accounted for. So they have a lot of information on the bomb site, just immediately, based upon where the drones are placed.
You know, and to have to replace him and to change it around, they've been such a stable roster for a while. You know, we'll see how they handle that.
So we've got a mirror window inside of the stockroom facing site, and another one above facing library. So this is fine. So leader's gone and droned immediately straight towards blue. He's probably gonna buck it open, shoot the camera. Pretty straightforward stuff. The only interesting pick on the Koi side is Capitao. I think Capitao's been picked here to try and get rid of a player in the suicide spot in library. That's like tucked in close to the window, just behind the hatch. It's a pain in the ass to remove. But if your enemy team doesn't have a Wamai on the board, then Capitao is a really good pick just to burn him out.
Koi, we are watching out for them as an overall team, given how yesterday went down. So let's see how things shape up. We've got the Brava on side, immediately jammed out there. This is the wonderful thing. The Brava's trying to hack the camera at the same time that we've got the bulletproof camera shooting EMP blasts out.
So Brava's drone hacking things is quite interesting. I think there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. I think value for money. I think you'll probably get most of the value from getting rid of cameras. Obviously, you can hack a couple of Capcan traps in the middle of the map, but what use do you get out of that? You can hack a Malusi on the doorway to a site. That'd be a good one. That'd be perfectly fine. You can use it to destroy Cade claws, for example. It's like a budget Twitch in that sense. I would just take Twitch at that point, but mainly you're going to get most of your Bravo use from getting the cameras. Opening pick. So that's a big first pick. Azami dead early on. Less barriers the later the round goes.
There's not really much that they can do necessarily in terms of, you know, as I said, 24 hours is a quick turnaround to start fixing things. So Kaya not so much going to be looking, I think, to have changed or to fix anything specifically. It's going to be about coming out and getting the performances that they should be showing us, which was something else that was a little bit lacking yesterday. A good entry kill coming in, that's something they can build on. Unfortunate for Deadshot, first action inside of EUL is going to be to take an entry death, but I'm sure that we'll see more.
So at this point in the round, for Wolves, nothing's really happening. You're hearing some noises on the exterior of the map, but other than that, Koi is not achieving anything right now, at least that they can see. So if you're in the mind of Wolves right now, and you've not had action for 20-30 seconds, no one's seen anything, no one's heard anything, no one's spotted drones, the only thing to assume is that Koi is cooking something up. So the question is, where is it coming from? Like, not even Noodles peeking here. Crying gets the nade kill. And now we're actually getting some action started. So now we've got some movement. And this is the main reason for the noise, main reason for the distractions, because basically one thing you can do for bar, and it works a lot of the time, is you can just walk a guy into bar. You can do this from walking from the main door, you can walk up the garage stairs straight into fireplace, but this play here, it works so often, because it's so hard to keep an eye on fireplace, especially when you get rid of the cameras. The room is huge, you can be pressured from multiple windows, a doorway outside where someone can be in Narnia with glass and still kill you. So this play has a very high success chance. I will say that this double peek is really good from Noodle and deepeY repelling behind him. I think it's deepeY repelling behind him. Yeah. So that's a really good double peek. But it's a really good first round. Skip the prep phase a little bit. 2 drones dead, 3 alive.
Second or third prep for them, if I can remember rightly, going back towards SI. But a couple of roster changes coming in can completely change the way that a team perceives the map. All these 2 new players come in. They've got different preferences on their own map.
So you got like 2 below in the car garage. I think Leon just drove his drone outside. I didn't spot the last one. But basically it's 7 drones left as the round begins. As one of the drones was shot elsewhere towards library side, I think.
Round 2 is going to see a kitchen and dining attack. Noodle straight away working towards opening up solo windows. Leon will go up there and be the player that's going to take up that position for the time being. Drone going in, he's not going to see Deadshot. It's not actually Deadshot here, it's so that it was the Azar.
So the big thing when you're doing Solarium takes is to check whether the stairs are clear or not. It can be a pain in the ass to clear the stairs if the guy is very disciplined, and especially if he's like Jaeger or my. But they don't have to worry about that right now.
Has switched across to the Azami, and Deadshot's picking up the alibi.
So what Koi have done here is, you can't quite see, but you can tell on the outline. Koi have Yana, Cryan, on a drone. He's most likely sitting his drone towards wine cellar. And the idea is you get Leader in below his Buck, or Leon in his sledge, because you can actually sit in the car and sledge the ceiling. But you're basically going to sledge the ceiling, and you're going to secure from the car garage the Solarium flank. This also is a really good way to prevent a player on Solarium stairs from coming down. Now, the one thing that they didn't check for is where P4 is. P4 is actually stood inside of Trophy on the hatch, and he's going to impact it and drop and kill Leader, because that is the gap in what Koi has set up here. So he impacts the hatch. Oh no, the hatch is already open. Excuse me, hatch is already open. He gets 1 kill onto Leader, and that's the Buck dead. He kept, they're the drones, one inside of, oh, you can't see my cursor. No, hold on. Properties, capture cursor. Okay. I'm gonna flash that. There you go. So there's 1 drone down here, and there's another drone down here in this corner. And he actually escapes just because of the positioning. He does get traded kind of late, but I wouldn't even call that a trade. I just call that a kill. Way beyond a trade. So now the big thing here is that Koi needs to either re-identify the goal in the round or continue to push their original goal. The original goal obviously was Solarium take, to try and plant towards the master bedside, but they've kind of hit a snag, 1 minute and 10 off the clock, and it's 4v4. What matters now is, do they want to retake the stairs, or do they want to try and change it up? Based upon where Noodle is and where Cryan rotated, is they're actually changing things up a little bit slowly, and this could actually be attributed to individuality. This could just be Noodle saying, well, I'm going to try and make something happen in the basement, rather than actual call, because there isn't really much else going on, and there isn't really any support for Noodle here as he's making his push, and he has the diffuser, so if Noodle dies here, it's a big fuck up. But as you can see, Koi not really moving towards the next goal. They haven't changed or decided what they want to do until now. So we'll see what this comes out of these smokes and see what we try and gain from this. So instead, we're going to go Noodle coming up the stairs here. And okay, so this is the newly identified plan. We're going to get Noodle to come up the stairs. He's going to get some support from Deepak. By the looks of it, Leon's entering lobby and Cryan's going to jump in the trophy window. So Leon's made his way pretty deep already. He does have a Melusi Banshee to contest with on the opposite side of the door, and this 1v1. Oh, there's a Melusi Banshee, rather. So now it's on Leon and Noodle to secure this 2 versus 1. Based upon Leon's calls, Noodle should know that he's behind the desk, but Noodle needs to also check absolutely every angle and make sure he's not there. But Leon gets the kill anyway and is traded from the backstairs of Fireplace. So far, this is going really well for Koi. They've managed to identify what their change-up is, what they want to move into, which was instead of just taking above and then going below, instead they're going to go below and then go into the site that way. So it's pretty decent. Obviously, the gap here was Noodle in the basement. He would no drone info. He had the case. If he dies, the whole plan is gone to shit. So my only criticism would be to try and get information, get Noodle in there a little bit safer. But if we rewind it back a little bit and focus more so on the side of Wolves, You can see that you have 2 Wolves players defending Solarium. I think you only need 1 player in this position. 2 players here is way too stacked up. Obviously, they thought the push was coming from Solarium. But if you're playing in master bedroom or bathroom, you hear the rappel noise of the window. You'd hear someone coming up the stairs. So you should know, if you're Wolves, that they've given up on Solarium. So 2 people stacking here isn't the play. You got 1 guy behind the A-bomb. You got 1, yeah, that's it, and 1 guy offside. So the smokes here come onto West Main, and they're blocking off specifically Solarium. Now, given the position of Wolves, it's hard for them to identify what these smokes means, because they don't have anyone that's impacted by these smokes. This is purely just a safety net for Koi, so they could actually get into the room. No information in terms of drones or pre-placed drones. It's quite easy to get drone information on dining when you want to push it, because there is a drone hole directly outside. Even though Wolves are running a mute, it's unlikely that there's a mute jammer there, but there's a possibility. But if I'm Leon doesn't have any drones, but if I was Leon with drones, or just someone else, just chuck a drone over the roof and drop it there. Just put a drone in that dining drone hole. You need to go in it for literally half a second, see where the guy is, ping him, red ping him, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just get that confirmation that he is alone in the room.
Smoke arrows ahead of Noodle.
Hey, Metrics. No clue what you said, but hello.
Allowing him to move up West Main stairs and get himself back against the wall there. You can also see that the thorn trap that was just
I will say Deadshot is a little bit slow. This is another situation where you go back to the previous round 1 and you basically spectate this from Wolves' point of view. Nothing is happening. No one's having firefights. No one's hearing anything. And the biggest thing that not many people focus on when they're running around the map is not necessarily what they're seeing and what they're hearing, but the actual opposite. What are you not seeing? What are you not hearing? If that makes sense. Because if you have a player in library and you're not hearing the games window get shut open, you're not hearing the library windows get open, you don't hear anyone sneaking in from mudroom below, well, that you've just immediately eliminated 1/2 of the map that they can push through. And you guys in Solarium, they're not hearing the rappel. They know there's no one in trophy, at least yet, not yet. That leaves you with 2 things to know. 1 is they're in basement somewhere. And 2, West Main. Lobby is always going to be the big question mark, as I said before. It's so hard to cover, it's so hard to hold, because like I said, Glass can sit in Africa and just snipe you as you walk across the door. So either they're in basement or they're in West Main. And that is easily deduced if Wolves just talk to each other. Deadshot, all he has to say is, no one's here. No one's fucking here. I'm all alone. I'm not hearing anything. Your Solarium player's like, yep, no sound here. And your player on site is like, oh, I'm being smoked from West Main. Immediately as the smoke's coming from West Main, it should clarify everything I've just said, but the only avenue that Wolves had to go off of is potentially some noise from trophy window if Crane was there. Crane was there making noise, excuse me. He could have just been stood there AFK, stood still waiting. And maybe main door if the fireplace camera is still alive. You've got 3 people dead. 1 of them is on cameras. I'm not quite sure if the spectator system's been updated. I know this has been wildly inaccurate, like Leader spectating Noodle, for example, here. At the end of the day, Wolves had everything they needed to deduce where this push is coming from, but if you don't have that instant spark to do that, then you just don't know. You won't know when the push is coming. You won't know that something's happening.
for the stairs had been neutralized as well. Deadshot managing to pick up Leon, but 2 kills coming in for Koi, leaving us now 3v2. Noodle inside.
And there is no jammer on that drone hole, so they could put a drone there.
Lucky Deadshot there, not to find his man, not to find that kill with the alibi, but there is an opportunity for the diffuser to go down, and Koi are going to take it in. They're going to complete it. That leaves us 3 versus 2, 2 versus.
So let's look at some post-plant stuff. So you have meepeY here, a Noodle planting behind the desk. So if I'm Noodle, I'm not peeking. I'm staying, I'm hiding, I'm tucked, I don't give a fuck. At no point here should Noodle peek for a kill. In fact, meepeY should be communicating, I'm your first contact, you peek on my swing. The only question mark in this whole thing is where the fuck Bibu is. And again, from Koi's POV, if they talk, they should at least know he's upstairs. Or flanking West main.
There's an opportunity for the diffuser to go down, and Koi are going to take it in. They're going to complete it. That leaves us 3 versus 2, 2 versus 2 as Deadshot finds one. They're going to have to find a few more though.
meepeY almost loses his life to the vertical as well, and I thought for a second there's just no way Wolves can retake this. They've lost control of the site. They're fighting back into their own setup against Koi, who has stormed to take control of the site.
So here, it's pause time. Wolves, you need to get as many 2v1s as you possibly can. You've just heard that the diffuser's been mollied. At this point, Deadshot and meepeY need to communicate. We need to kill this guy in West main.
Right, but Deadshot has managed to force them away. They're still going to get their decision.
So like even right here, the crossfire that Koi has some glaring weaknesses. One, meepeY drops the hatch and swings by the bomb here. meepeY not looking the right way, instantly killed. Alternatively, you could have Deadshot peek at the same time for some consistency's sake. And all of a sudden it's a 2 versus 1 or a 1 versus 1.
They've got about 10 seconds to make this work. Before it is too late, they've got to go now.
They really do. Deep
But meepeY's flanking West main.
Deadshot gets onto the counter diffuse. Can he stick this? Are they aware? I'm not sure. He
And whiffs all of his bullets.
does get shut down in the end. meepeY cannot.
So meepeY should have just had a two-person spray here. That should have been the first kill, that should have been the second kill. So that's just some aim inconsistencies. That's fine. But yeah, Koi definitely had some weaknesses in the way that they were set up. It was exploitable if Wolves know where to peek from. But that's the beauty of Siege, is that everything I've just said is a load of bollocks because it's all hindsight.
Is going to be an
It only counts as if Wolves had the information there, and once that plant goes down, once the deployable cameras are dead on site, Wolves don't have any clue where they've gone. In fact, they only know one thing. The diffuser was mollied from West main.
another round for Koi. Is 2.
But where the fuck is Crying? That's the big one.
One a little bit closer at least. Again, that's the clock. From the stats from the 60 win rates, Chalet sat quite nicely in there, thinking about 53% or so. Many would consider it to be a very attacker, not favoured, but an attacker-friendly map at the same time. So truthfully, with how I think it should go, if they get up to 3-0, Wolves
Yeah, look great on.
to their way back into 3-3, and they can be happy with that scoreline.
And you're not alone, Timo.
Instead, that was somewhere obviously that they suffered from last time. They did have the razor balloon there on the stairs.
I too talk to myself. Because what's better company than yourself?
When the Ash of Noodle wandered up West Main stairs, he was able to just avoid that walk on into sight. Of course, that's probably
How many months has it been? My last stream was VR, and I streamed Bone Labs.
having that reliance
That came out just after Berlin Major. So it's been a while.
there. They maybe need to be looking at having a gun trained on.
Alright, so I just want to point out that Koi have lost 4 drones post-prep phase. 4 drones, 7 seconds off the clock. So that's a really bad start from Koi.
I think that
Alternatively, a really good job from Wolves.
forced Koi, to move a little bit further away. You were holding above, which is absolutely fine, but they just went straight in through Solarium, looked at getting kills.
So it looks like we're going to try the same thing, but maybe some kind of adapted. Leader's going to check to see if the hatch is open, which is a decent adaptation. But now it's just, again, droning up, checking if it's clear, see if they can do it again.
To a starting point for Wolves. It has been a slow start as commented, but there's still time to warm things into this. Koi starting things out very heavily here, out towards this south side of Bar and Gaming, working their way in the top 4, making use of the Gemini.
So I just want to say real quickly here, this is really good from Noodle. He doesn't shoot the camera. The camera's not on, he doesn't have a reason to shoot it. If he shoots the camera, there could be someone directly above him that just Batmans him and just jumps off and shoots him in the head. Instead, he was going to wait for Cryon's Prisma to get up here and to essentially scout it for him to see if it's safe to shoot the camera. But at this point, if the camera's not on, then he may as well retain that level of sneak. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that Koi knows that library is clear. Yeah, Mathis. So they can do this pretty safely, and all they had to contest was gaming from below. At the same time, you can see that meepeY is on towards main lobby with Leon. It looks like they gave up on trying to do anything from below, which is perfectly fine. But based upon this setup right here, they want to do a fireplace take. They want to open the wall. Whoopsie daisy. They want to open the wall onto dining and plant behind the bomb. Initially, that's what the plan looks to be. Secure as much map control, as much of a safety net as they can possibly get, and go from there.
The forwards, of course, proves as a beautiful bait for the defenders to swing onto and go for a fight, assuming it might be a player, only for the real threat to be right behind it with a rifle pointed in your general direction. So a good bit of early team play from Koi to get themselves inside the building, and now taking good control
information over. Also able to capture a Banshee as well, so that flips it, and the defenders will get caught up in that. P4 is aware. This is just
nothing crazy right now. Again, this is a point where Wolves should be like, all right, what am I hearing? What do I know? Am I seeing anything here? Am I seeing anything now? The biggest question mark for Wolves right now should be basement. I think it's pretty clear to them that the take is likely coming from library side, depending on what cameras are gone. So they should be at least kitting up for that.
To the Solus as well, because once those electronic gadgets get captured, she looks in a scanner, she can see that they are then registering that they've been flipped over. So again, you know, another further use for Solus.
Absolutely. Just so impressive, as we spoke about in our last game as well, to see all the drones, all the utility in use, sees players on their drones as well, i.e. where the players are when they've got the phones out by the site.
So nothing's happening. Nothing's happening.
North side here expecting some kind of push to come into Trove.
Nothing's happening. So here we are. So you got deepeY outside. I'm going to assume that the wall is open at this point. We'll probably just want to wind it like 10 seconds. But yeah, the wall is open. So no one can play inside of office. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't change the round by too much. The main action actually starts here. We're going to flash out piano and make a push in. It's okay. So the flash is for a Jaeger. The nade is going to go towards the closet. This is standard, pretty normal. I think my only caveat here would be someone should be pushing behind this nade to take control of piano at the same time. This just min-maxes the amount of time you're saving when you're making plays and moves. If you're aiming to nade out that mini corridor where you make the rotate to closet, push piano at the same time.
But now as Cryan moves in behind a thrown nade, 50 seconds left to go, and Coy, they just need to be getting a little bit more aggressive now, finding a few kills and pushing themselves forward, taking this control. What a beauty from Noodle. Just here's that shot on his left hand side, and man.
This is good from Noodle. I think it's good initiative for him to do this. Again, I just think plays could be min-maxed a little bit more. We could get Cryan's clone, go just Cryan himself here to trade a little bit sooner. It's a bit nitpicky. I think what Noodle did was fine. But again, min-maxing. So the big thing here is identifying a win condition. And if I'm Wolves, and if I'm specifically Bibu, I'm telling my team, I am the win condition. They don't know I'm here. I'm hidden in a really weird spot. They won't drone me. They won't check me. Bait me, bait me, bait me. Just play safe. Let me get the opening kill here. Then play off of me. If anything, P4 should be closer to this door. I think Mowgli's in a perfectly fine position here with his barricades. But P4 should be closer, peeking these two holes. Just shoulder peeking. That's all he has to do. Not even putting himself in danger. He just needs to draw attention. Equally, when he's not drawing attention, he needs to be sat there on his little scanner. There's no drones coming. You're fine, Bibu. This is a play that you could practice in a custom game. This is something easily dry runnable. Again, it just relies on Bibu not being droned. Good from Mowgli. But there you go. Bibu strikes, he gets one. So just through the virtue of just some good aiming from Mowgli here to kill Leon, and then Bibu catching Cryan off guard, that's the win condition there. At this point, there's 13 seconds left, and it's a 3 versus 2. At this point, it's pretty safe. All you have to do is deny the plant as best as you can. Wolves don't have nitros, they don't have smokes, they don't have plant denial. The only thing they can deny with is face checking, which is fine. It's just that when you have a win condition like that has no last chance denial, smoke grenades, nitros, you really have to win the round earlier on. And I think cutting it here, it is cutting it a little bit close. I think if Koi had better time management, because when we keep rewinding the clock here, we have this interaction here. This is where the main push comes in from Koi, and you get to about here, and then the push stops for like 20 seconds. Cryan gets a really good one onto P4. Again, I said P4 should not have been there peeking that. He should have been a little bit closer, baiting teammates. But still, Mowgli gets out, he gets his kill on Leon, and Bibu's been successfully baited. I think it's really just come down to drones. Like, who has drones on Koi? No one has drones. No one has drones on Koi. Leon is the last drone here. He gets shot on his way down. He has a drone deployed, I think, or in pocket. No, it's in pocket. That's the icon for in pocket, I think. No dot in the circle. So Leon has a drone in pocket by the seams of it. I'm not quite sure with the new overlay. You can see them just above my head here. I don't think I'm covering them. So they have 2 drones deployed from dead players, specifically. By the looks of Noodle's drones are the only ones that are in play right now. And Leon. No, this overlay is a little bit confusing. But yeah, I guess one drone's Leon, one drone must be Noodles. But either way, doesn't matter. I'm rambling. But yeah, it's a good round from Wolves. All things considered. That's a good kill from Leader. Leader's looking rather different in his player profile picture down there on the left. Unlucky. This is really unlucky. I'm just going to try and pause at the right time. Pause. Unlucky. I think if Koi had Koi was a little bit quicker at taking piano and pushing forwards a little bit easier, a little bit quicker, and maybe doubling up on Noodle's entry there, they could have taken top floor a little bit more demandingly, a little bit more forcefully, and they would have probably found Bibu sooner, or Bibu would have been forced to strike sooner, which would have given them a chance in that round. But I think Wolves, the moment Leon died, it was GG. Once your pincher's dead, it's over. Yeah, Reese. Hello.
Just extends that area of safety, and also if that back wall gets opened up at the bottom of West Main Stairs, it just allows you to be able to fight through there and just give that protection through to Connector, because that's really the long angle that you're looking for. You get somebody inside of Car Garage and they can just look all the way down there through that breach right through to Connector and just absolutely slice that side.
So far, 5 drones alive for Koi. Very good start. The drone phase. I assume they've gotten them mostly in position. I think Leon's just getting his drone there to West Main, which he has. So 5 alive, completely stark difference in the previous round. Big. So no denial other than a mute jammer. That's whatever. That's literally just an operator check. Do you have something to get rid of this? I'd even argue that it's probably not worth jamming that wall as Wolves. I think if you were going to try and deny a wall, you either do it with 100% focus or not at all. Because if you half-ass it, it's EMP open, done. Okay. You may as well just use it to jam a drone hole or something.
Yeah, at the minute, Crine and Deepeg have remained in place at the breach. Leader is moving round to the rear.
So this is a split push.
Get that open. That's exactly what's going to happen as soon as that EMP goes off.
Obviously, triple hard breach on the side of Koi. That's kind of unusual, but it makes sense when you see that they're opening every single wall. They're going to open garage. They're going to open up the boil closet, and they're going to open up the main wall on wine cellar. This is basically just making it as uncomfortable as possible for Wolves to exist on the bomb site. Specifically, this mirror is going to start feeling the heat as the round continues on. She can only really dictate control over the garage breach where Deepek and Cryan are facing, but when she's being pushed from behind and distracted either with drone information or being pushed, players can just walk in garage. The mirror window means nothing. You just have to have faith that the mirror can't peek, or isn't going to peek, because she's intimidated by pressure. So, I see, I get it now. I think I get it now. So, there's 4 drones. The UI is wrong, man. This UI is wrong. Okay. You can't see it, but Leon's got 2 circles. Noodle's got 1 circle full and 1 circle hollow. Same with meepeY. Leader has 1 drone and 1's full. And then up here, it's just wrong. So the UI is bugged again.
The method could be to get in and clear Mowgli out. You get control of the hatch, but you can also rip up the floor above Mira's head, and you can take that window out.
Absolutely. Well, now they've got the pressure on both sides coming, as you say, so it starts to feel a little bit claustrophobic downstairs in the basement for the side of Wolves. They haven't yet dealt with...
Damn, okay. So I'm going to rewind just a little bit. I want you to keep an eye on this drone count above me. In fact, I'm going to move my UI just a little bit lower. There you go. So right now, Koi have lost 4 drones and have 6 drones remaining with 1 minute and about a half of the round left. And then the next 5 seconds, lose 1 drone. They're going to lose another drone. And they're going to lose a 3rd drone. So they're going to lose 3 drones in like 20 seconds, give or take. So there goes 1. That's the 2nd drone gone. And the next drone's about to go in just a second. I'm lying. Okay. I guess I'm lying. Fucking A. So now there's 4 drones left with 1 minute. So let's have a look at his drones. So Leon has a drone out. You can't see it. Noodle has a drone out. meepeY has a drone out. And Crane has 1 in pocket. Okay, let's go back a second. Fucking hell. So again, we're opening up as much of the bomb site as possibly can. Do you mind? Whatever. So now it's all about finding openings. Leon's going to make a kind of like a ballsy play. He's going to push blue and try and kill meepeY. meepeY is spotted here by meepeY, I think. Yeah, by meepeY. And he's going to get called out. At this point, Leon's in. He's actually going to turn around because he's been given the call. meepeY was expecting it and he dies because of it. So my biggest complaint here is that if you have space to make a crazy play, you probably have space to bring more people for your crazy play. Right now, I think this is Noodle is off in Africa. You've got Leader here. Leader should have pushed in. Leader does get the kill here, which is fine. Yeah, but he absolutely should have been pushing in there with Leon to try and put pressure on this default mirror and kill the mirror and take the site.
The trade is there from Leader though, so good progress from Koi. They've got the rear side of sight, and that's allowing meepeY to push in from the front because he doesn't have to.
And again, because this default mirror window is still here, because not enough pressure has been put on this mirror, she's able to sit there and just through presence alone, just through throwing that nitro and killing Cryan, meepeY is forced off the plant. Clearing this mirror window, it has to be done sooner. And if Leon and Leader committed to clearing this mirror window, then the round would be in a much different position. But if we rewind it back to this point here on a 5v5 and take another perspective, look at this. All of your site walls are open. Where the fuck are wolves? Where are you? You can't rely on meepeY and you can't rely on Shinka to clutch this shit up. Where are the roamers? Why are they not coming closer to site? Why are they not protecting the staircases? Why is no one trying to challenge fucking Cryan here? Why is no one trying to retake the stairs here? Why is no one coming to reinforce meepeY?
What I was talking about with that keeper barricade at the beginning of the round and how it cut.
Bro, they've got 3 people here. They've got like 1 guy, 2 guys, West Main Trophy, and 1 guy playing on the hatch. Well, the guy playing on the hatch is too distracted and didn't actually know Leon was pushing in until meepeY got the call. Leader isn't pushed in either. Obviously, Leader here is being held from the hatch guy, which is fine. But Leader should have been pushing in here.
This is what happens. Leon has to step inside a site and gets taken out by meepeY. The trade is there from Leader though, so good progress from Koi. They've got the rear side of sight, and that's allowing meepeY to push in from the front because he doesn't have to worry about the mirror window. He's going to go up and smash it and potentially look for a plant on it.
So here, I'm going to rewind it again. I'm going to try and pause it at the right time. Right here. Now do you see why there's a big problem with meepeY's plant spot?
That's exactly what he's gonna do.
There is a gaping angle towards him. But that angle doesn't even actually matter because Mowgli just flanks him anyway.
Control here, but Mowgli, he manages to get an important kill, puts the diffuser down on the ground, and P4 from up on high manages to slam leader and then gets new.
So I think if Koi went in as a unit when Leon saw his opportunity to push in, I think we get to a situation where the mirror is forced to decide whether she wants to peek the garage breach or does she want to turn around for Leon. Because as we saw through the silhouette, Leon was actually stood around here before he turned to try and fight Bibu. So if the push came in from everyone all at once, sure, leader would have been taken out from the hatch. That's perfectly fine. Welcome to entry fragging. It's 101. You either get shot or you get shooting. But that would have meant the mirror is dead. You could have planted deeper on the site. You would have had hatch control potentially at that point. The biggest question mark just would have been Bibu. And I think with Cryan and potentially Leon and potentially even Leader in this situation, if he had survived the instance, could have probably taken out Bibu. But equally from Wolves, they went for a more retake-esque style. And I don't think they had intended to do that from the start. I think that's just what they were forced into doing as the round progressed. I don't think that was the ideal solution, but as you see, it's just that happens that when the collapse comes here, both players from West Main have rotated down the stairs at the right time, and Mowgli has dropped the hatch. Mowgli's dropped the hatch and he's flanked D back here, because Mowgli is just here, where my cursor is. And the two players are flanking West Main. Noodle is way out of the fight. He's off in Africa. He is completely irrelevant to this push. This is a 3v2, not a 3v3. Oh, P4 even went up again and dropped the hatch. Okay. If that's the case, then that's on Wolves. They'll definitely think that P4 should have dropped with Mowgli a little bit sooner. They could have delayed it a little bit and done it a little bit better. At the end of the day, this is all hindsight min-maxing shite. It's a little bit unlikely that it's possible. But I think if Wolves, again, had planned dry run, setting custom games, this could have been a dedicated move. Either you have two players going down the West Main stairs to trade each other, or you have two players dropping that hatch and one player goes down the West Main stairs. And I think that would have been a better idea if you want to look for a retake strategy. Two people dropping hatches is crazy risky because if someone is looking at the hatch, as you drop the hatch, your feet come into vision first before your head does. Meaning you have no fucking clue what you're dropping into, and they've already seen you for a full half second. So double dropping hatches is risky business. But either way, I think Wolves' retake was okay in the end, but definitely left a little bit more to be desired on the min-maxing side of things. I think Mowgli did have a good timing here, a good opportunity to sneak his way in and get into to finish Deepak. But I think it could have been done. It could have been done a little bit better. Oh man, I got a food delivery in 30 minutes. So, again, we're going to flip it on over to the drones again. 4 drones dead, 1 alive. Hey? Overlay? Okay, the overlay's broken. Never mind. Fuck me, overlay's broken. We got 2 drones here. And it says 4 drones are dead up here, so. I'm just going to stop referring to that thing at the top. It's fucking broken. So, straight onto bar. Pretty standard stuff. As per usual, most teams these days are getting control of garage, or at least destroying the garage camera. Excuse me. So let's have a look at the positions. You got Deepak here on the corner droning. His drone is nice and deep in garage. It's probably going towards blue. Leon's on the main door. He's going to use his drone to hack cameras and get as much as he can. Leader is here. I'm not quite sure why he's here just yet. I think if he's here, the only reason for him to be in here is to go up the fireplace stairs and open this stock wall so Shinka can't play on this mirror window. Cryan's opening mud, and Noodle's upside down opening the trophy, opening the library window, excuse me. Here, wolves do not have holes above the stairs, so this should be quite easy if Leader just wants to walk up and do the wall, which it is. He's just going to walk up and open the wall. However, he was being flanked by 2 players, but he's in and out as quick as he came. Cryan going for the lurk, that's fine. Excuse me. So, patient game from P4 gets in the kill. It's nitpicky, but this is corner cutting from Koi. Just because it was clear 20-30 seconds ago doesn't mean it's clear now. This just kind of shows me that Koi don't have pre-placed drones down here, and if they do, P4's made it way past them. As you know, P4's been there for quite a while. It's good entries from Leon. So the push comes from here. I'm going to turn the music down just a tad. Excuse me. Alright, Bullshark. Have a good one, man. So the push comes from here when Leader dies. This seems like the go moment. You got the smokes from meepeY. I assume at this point meepeY would likely be pushing in or jumping in, but he's being pressured from Deadshot. Reveals himself in the smoke to Leon. It does allow Leon to jump in the smoke, so I'm assuming that's what covers Leon's sound as the smokes. Leon wins a nice 1v1 here. A little bit risky. I kind of wish there's someone on the window to the right of Leon here, on the ladder window. That would have kind of solidified things quite well. But it seems like Cryan is lurking, so we're not going to get that. Looking good so far as we get in towards these last 60 seconds. Yeah, not too bad at all. They've got the vertical. So, if you place the breach charge close to the window, you'll actually, I think, you'll destroy above the mirror window as well, and that gives you an angle down onto it. I could be wrong, but I think that's possible. So Cryan's now just rotating. I don't think Cryan managed to achieve anything. By the looks of it, he got into a firefight and didn't want to continue pushing, which is fine. But I still think that Cryan would have probably been either useful at this point now going for a flank rather than that early on in the round. I think if he was on the ladder window, just helping Leon secure his jump in, helping Leon pin down people essentially, then just jump off and jump in West Main or wherever the fuck he wanted to go. I think that would have been a much more useful, productive, and productive move from Cryan.
Just looking through, limited on it.
But when we go back to this point right here and look at it from Wolves' perspective, essentially you're like, hey, we just killed Ace. That's great. But the real troubles start when the smokes happen here. Noodle and Deadshot have a firefight with one another. But my main question is, where is the main stairs? Where is the library stairs guy? Because this is library stairs here, and there's no one playing on library stairs. Instead, Mowgli's pushed quite far up here. I assume Mowgli's looking out for a potential piano flank from Cryan, but it leaves it leaves Deadshot completely wide open to being flanked. Obviously, you'd like to think you'd hear someone jumping in a window from just behind you, but this is Rainbow Six Siege we're playing. You can't hear shit half the time. So having someone just to keep Leon in check behind the shield which there isn't anyone behind the shield. Puts Deadshot in a poor position where he can be caught out. Mowgli's playing on reactionary now, so he's trying to get that trade. He's 1 versus 1. Leon sees him before Mowgli sees Leon. So Leon, at this point, with the power, it's a very fucking strong gun, and he's running extended barrel. He's basically just gonna fucking mow him down. Kills him like 3 bullets, like 1 to the arm as well. Mowgli did have a chance to like flick and get the headshot, but poor aim means he doesn't get it. So if you're Wolves at this point, it's quite difficult. You've basically lost all of top floor. All of the floor is destructible near enough, so there's no safe places to hide on site for the time being. The only thing you can realistically put stock in is Bibu making a power play somewhere and getting a kill. Because right now P4 is in basement, right? P4 is in basement. There's 1 minute left, but the time is ticking, but it's not affecting the attackers as much as the time ticking down should. They're in a commanding lead at this point. They've gotten map control for 1 kill, for 1 death rather, which is leader. And he's already opened a wall at this point, so he should be fine.
Yeah, not too bad at all. They've got the vertical. They're going to start working on that. Opening up with the soft breach, just trying to pressure the man behind the mirror now. But that's not going to be easy to move Shinka from there. Just looking
so
through,
this is the one thing that kind of that I've never really agreed with, is that when you do the rotate on bar and you come up west main stairs and you immediately start challenging dining room, start challenging short, what are you actually challenging? What are you trying to flank? What are you trying to achieve? Like P4 here achieved nothing. He stops people from walking into fireplace, I guess.
Left available, and they're going to have to make sure that gets into the right place.
But he's there so quickly that it achieves nothing. He needs to get his ass upstairs, which I think he's done here. Yeah, he's on his sprint. This is where he should have gone to immediately. It's a little bit longer of a rotate, but that's good. It works with you because at this point, Koi is just leisurely opening up all the floor. And he's soulless. He knows that there's no flank drones, so he can do this pretty freely. So at this point, if I'm P4, I'm saying, boys, I'm about to jolly their Rogers. Get ready to make some plays on site. At this point, I'm telling Bibu to come up the fucking library stairs. I'm telling fucking Shinka to shotgun the floor and nitro the floor. Do anything to start a distraction. Just don't die. Shinka, stay alive. Bibu, get your ass upstairs with me. We got some work to do. Boom. First. Unfortunately, that's the way the round goes. Solace essentially is the linchpin here. As I said, she gets upstairs so easily because she knows where all the flank drones are. And if a flank drone's not on, then that's a fucking slap on the wrist for Koi. At least they would have known she's coming. Yo, what was that?
I'm about to pass out. Hope stream's going well.
Yo, Jack. Thank you very much for the resub, man. What is that? 63 months in a row. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Thank you very much. You go pass out. You go enjoy yourself. You go get some sleep. But P4 gets here pretty much unmolested, which is like crazy. He rotates the whole fucking map and doesn't get spotted on a drone once. And if he did, then who the fuck is... Then that's on Koi. But realistically, he should be calling Bibu to come up the stairs so he can take top floor with them. At this point, we know that Koi has done all the legwork to open up as much of the floor as they possibly can. So if Koi wants to plant on the site, let them, because they've opened up all the holes above anyway. And it also doesn't matter if they've opened up the floor or not. It's soulless. You can just see where you're planting anyway and shoot you. So that's why taking control of above would have been much better here for Bibu. Instead, Bibu is kind of trapped and sits in the corner and eventually just gets gunned down here. I think Koi's adaptation here from losing above is good. I think this move here is a little bit fortunate. Shinka rotates back into the supply closet and gets gunned down by Leon on the stairs. It's a little bit fortunate, but it's also good positioning from Koi. You deny the mirror window, and when you deny the mirror window, that allows you to jump in the window, which meepeY immediately does. Cryan gets the kill onto Bibu because Bibu's hidden in a corner. When you're clearing out the map, when you're clearing out this bomb site specifically, and you're coming from Cryan's perspective, the only places that you're realistically going to get challenged from is behind the B-bomb, supply closet, or close left or close right on the door that he's actually stood at. And you can see here, I want to rewind it. I gotta God pause this to get it at the right one. There, you can kind of see it. Oh fuck, I missed it. There's kill holes all along the right side of the prone, right side of that doorway for Cryan. So Cryan knows that if he's gonna get pressure when he walks in, it's gonna be close left. We know that Shinka's just died from closet, so Cryan, he knows his game. He gets the kill on the guy close left on Bibu. In fact, what probably happened is Bibu probably swung in and Cryan won the gunfight. So this is good. It was very clean. Hello, Barry.
And onto those main stairs. He's picked up that angle that I was talking about. Shinka was being allowed to stay behind that mirror.
That round was... It was won by Koi, thrown by Koi, and then won by Koi. I really think Leader retaking the basement with no information after giving up the basement 20 seconds, 30 seconds prior was a big mistake. But equally, I think they recovered with Leon above, and then they threw with letting Solus retake above, and then they recovered by having good moves on the bomb site. I think Wolves definitely were in positions to win that round. I just don't think they found the solution in time.
You've used the stairs, seize that opportunity, takes it.
Does mean that Koi still have the opportunity
stiff neck.
4-2 on the attacking side here of Chalet. Chalet, we see them go up with that level of advantage.
So Koi apparently just lost the drone according to the UI, but I don't fucking believe it.
I love seeing the captain.
Nope, drone's back alive.
Something that I first observed in NA, I want to say it was Dark Zero.
Bro, what is this fucking overlay? Like, keep an eye right here on this drone. Drone's dead, and all of a sudden Jesus says, "Let there be light," and it's fucking back alive. So I think the UI is fucked.
I want to say it was Dark Zero a good while ago. One of the first teams to really explore and use this quite aggressively to assault in towards Mez. In that last round there, we didn't really see it becoming a thing, of course, but here, I'm really excited to see what the use case is. They've identified that they've seen things like mirrors on the map potentially, so it's there as an option to deal with that, but also here potentially to enable control of Solar, to control of that, likely playing on the double window and looking to help smoke areas off.
Here we go then, round 6, final defense for Wolves coming up. They're going to want to lock
Flores this time. Flores is very good. I think he's underrated. I do believe he's one of the strongest operators in the game. It's so easy to use his drones to destroy things. Excuse me.
You know, stereotypically slow start inside. We've seen it from them plenty of times before.
So this is a really common move, but it's one that you guys can steal as well if you're duo queuing with a friend. Is get your guy to repel on the window. If you have good enough game knowledge, you'll know roughly where to aim, and you get your friend to just shoot the window for you. That way you have a full magazine when the window's open, and you can just shoot whoever the fuck challenges the window. Nothing happens, but yeah. That's something you can steal for your games.
Won't be able to use the Flores drones effectively from there, so he's going to come down to trophy window. I think maybe just try to support from there instead, looking to...
And again, based upon positions of Leader, Noodle, and where Deepak and Cryan are, it's pretty safe to say that we're going to establish a Solus presence here. Solarium, excuse me, presence here. The idea is Leader's going to buck the floor, hold the stairs from below, Noodle's going to cover his whole way at the same time. Cryan in this position also stops anyone making a play on the hatch like they had on round 1.
Clear out anybody on trophy stairs. I don't think they're going to get anybody any joy because there's nobody there at the minute.
And because typically you don't run meepeY on Chalet, you can run a player in Solarium. You can burn a player on the Solarium stairs quite easily. But there is a meepeY here, but I don't think they have anyone on the stairs anyway. You can steal that drone throw from your games. It's a very good drone throw. You just have to bounce it off the pillar and the drone actually just ricochets onto the back post.
His whole job is to control that area of the map whilst the rest of the team start getting up for their push forwards, which feels for the most part like difficult, looking to see what happens on the
skip forward a couple of seconds.
At the minute though, no one is really working their way on the downstairs, so 2 players committed to very little benefit right now, Tim.
Exactly that.
So we've seen where P4 is. We know where P4 is. He's in dining. We've just seen him with the Rotero drone. And you can see here, Noodle and Leader are on the hunt. I'm not quite sure where Leon is. You don't see him on the overlay. I'm going to assume he's above on Canine or Library, in that general vicinity. But Leon's upstairs. But what you have here is Cryon droning for Leader and Noodle. Or specifically now it's Deepak taking over, as Cryon's probably run out of drones. Yeah, Leon's upstairs on a balcony, that's fine. But basically, P4 is going to get droned out. He's going to get double pushed by Noodle and Leader. This, going back to my version of Koi, when I was on that team, when I was the coach, this is what we'd always do. We'd see a player kind of with his back to a wall. He can escape towards main lobby. He can drop the hatch. But if Noodle and Leader are fast enough, confident enough, and decisive enough, the big one, they can get this easily 2-for-1 without trading, or worst case, Leader trades Noodle for a 1-for-1 and map control. The drone dies there. Now the problem is decisiveness. Boom, there you go. I would say players and drone a little bit out of sync, but getting the kill regardless, perfectly fine. You see Cryon jumped in the window at the same time, up above, just underneath where the wolf picture is. So either way, P4 was fucked. So this was really good. It was a 3-man push, essentially, with a drone. I think if we were a little bit nitpicky, min-maxy, I think the drone, or the players should have sped up a little bit. The players should have sped up, the drone should have slowed down. But either way, the job's fucking done. Jobs are good, and you've got below control. You have essentially 2 vertical breaches in a really good position.
So that's a nice opener for Koi, and it just gives that bit of value to that time spent by those 2 players down on the basement floor. Not only that, but it's the Solace that they've picked up as well. So a great start for Koi.
Yes, it's looking good so far, but now it's about kind of turning it into a round win. As mentioned, they committed 2 players on the downstairs for the longest time. They have now moved up, and they are aware, and the army most definitely is aware of what is going down. I'd love to see a hard commit here of Chucky keep barricade on the floor to make it safe, just like that.
Kind of whiffed his throw a bit. He didn't really cover the holes, but hey ho.
I literally spoke that one into existence.
Dead stop Wolves.
Get me in.
So, I want to say a lot has happened, but not very much has happened at all. The biggest thing now is that even after all this pausing and rambling and talking, Koi have achieved 1 pick on P4. But the one thing you probably haven't realized whilst listening to me talk is to look at the round timer. There's 35 seconds left. Time is running out. We know that Leon's established himself on the bathroom balcony. He's pressuring Piano at least. He's shown his drone, and I think Frost has realized the drone is there. Shinka has realized his drone is there. There's a trap under the window, so Shinka doesn't have to focus too hard on the window. And we can see from below that Leader and Noodle are rotating. They're on camera as well. And again, because this is a really good part from Wolves, is because they are so good on time, as the defense side is, that you can afford to have Bibu here. When you think about it logically, right, you know that the Solarium push is the main thing. And historically, you also should know that Cryon is an infamous lurker. He's well known for being the Nook main that sneaks around the map and lurks towards the last second. So just having your dead guy sit on a camera and having one guy above ready to do a Batman play. I don't think Bibu actually vaults here. No. But yeah. Essentially here he can hear library. He knows if someone's coming up the game stairs or the library stairs, whatever you want to call it. So one man is efficiently locking down the whole flank of your team. So that allows Shinka, Deadshot, and Mowgli to essentially chill out on the opposite side. But as this trade comes in, Mowgli overpeaks and dies about here. Yeah, he dies to Leon.
Leveling things up at 3 versus 3.
A very weird round, it feels like, where Koi have sort of stalled out and not been sure how to proceed. They get a kill back down to the 2v2. Bibu and Deadshot just got to hold on, and hold on they will. Bibu finds the triple. Deepak could do nothing by him. Got to hold
time. The big thing that I always tell people when I'm coaching is that it's unfair. The game is unfair. The reason why the game is unfair is because the attackers are playing 5v6. In this game, it's Leon, Noodle, Deepak, Leader, and Cryan versus P4, Shinka, Deadshot, Mowgli, Bibu, and the clock. And not enough people realize, or at least respect, that concept of the clock. Time and tide wait for no man, and Koi have run out of both.
Hold on, they will. Bibu finds the triple. Deepak can do nothing by himself as he walks through a Banshee. Round 6 goes the way of Wolves, who've got a perfect 3-3 split. And Professor
Essentially, when you're pushed into making quick plays, you don't have time to coordinate efficiently, other than off of instinctual movements and quick calls. You don't have time to formulate a big sweeping plan. It literally comes down to your skill versus their skill. But it's never in your favor when you're 10 seconds left and you're pushing the bomb site from 3 different positions. Is because the one thing that you also don't have control over is where Wolves have set up the defenses. So it's you versus them, and the clock, and anything that you've still yet to clear. Like a frost trap under a window, an Azami barricade on a window, on a door, covering something, Jaeger devices, Wamai discs, Malusi Banshees.
They get a kill back down to the 2v2. Bibu and Deadshot just gotta hold on, they will. Bibu finds the triple. Deepak can do nothing by himself as he walks through a band.
This round was literally just time.
Round 6 goes the way of Wolves, who've got a perfect
best for them that they didn't win it once. So that's a big pain point for them that they can only win 2 different sites on the
interesting insight there, Tim, where it's telling you all you need to know. Thank you very much, Fresh.
But a 3-3 half.
Which Koi are starting on 1.
Let's flip it on over.
As well as kitchen and dining, looking to be a little bit of a pain point for Wolves, it feels.
Absolutely. And Koi have obviously done the homework there, leaning right into it.
Fresh, it turns out, with the stats.
The thing is, Fresh, for those who don't know, Fresh is like a walking stat encyclopedia. He's just...
He's also got what most people, Tim, you might not know about these devices.
He does have a tablet and a laptop.
No. They are called stats all day, Tim.
No, you're doing Fresh a disservice. Have any technology with him, and he'll say, no, that site's usually about this, and he's always right.
Oh, so you don't know the truth about him, though, because coming into any conversation
to the stats,
just going to skip forward a little bit.
That's what you don't know.
Right, okay.
Alright, cool. So, I'm going to rewind it just one tick here. So we have 4 players towards Solarium and 1 player on the roof. So let's see what happens to the roof guy as well. And again, the Wolves are using this drone hole in dining to gain immediate access with the Kludge drone. Who the fuck named it that? Jesus Christ. And they're basically, like I said before, it's a really good way of getting rid of Cade Claws. However, I would just prefer a Twitch at that point. If the only reason why you want it is to get rid of Cade, just take a Twitch. I guess you can maybe hatch the... Shinka, hello? Hello, Shinka, why, hello? Why are you getting off the drone? Drive it out! Save your drone, man! What are you doing?
Need to see this. Does that still electrify the wall? I can only assume it does.
I've been interested in this.
Why is he he's just abandoned the drone there? What are you doing, Shinka? That's wasteful. It's 2023, man. If I've got to use a fucking paper straw, you've got to take your drone outside.
This one, the electrification. No, it doesn't.
Okay, disables it. So where's the...
Oh no, they've been shot out. They're gone. So, maybe it just destroys it. I've not seen that. I think it just destroys it.
Yeah, because some gadgets do get...
So, essentially, Noodle gets the first one. Who does he get on? Is it a window player?
I've not seen that. I think it just destroys it.
Yeah, because some gadgets do get...
Yeah, he gets the kill on Bibu. Playing... Where the fuck was Bibu? I'm trying to find where Bibu is. Is this Bibu here?
Some gadgets do get destroyed. It wouldn't make sense to turn it and keep it.
Yeah, it was. So we got the one-man army here, Noodle. It's pretty straightforward. Wins 1 on the Bibu and wins 1 on Mowgli. And P4 has come to take the position too. He gets that kill as well. So basically, let's look at what Wolves did wrong here. Obviously, Noodle fucked him up. I think this literally is a case of where is your utility. So we have 2 nades gone from P4 and Mowgli 1 respectively each, but you have the smokes from Shinka. Could have easily used your smokes to get in there. Ashe is a claymore, so she's not going to be much use in the utility game there. But this is essentially a brute force take. But it's like wolves were trying to punch someone in their dreams. You just get the wet, fucking soggy spaghetti punches that you do in dreams. That's essentially what wolves have done here. They've tried to brute force their way into Solarium with just a double repel in, and they've not done it with any utility. They've not done it with any drones or any fourth throat, and they've just been gunned down by Noodle. I think even just a simple drone red pinging him, distracting him, would have been huge. But Bibu has flashes. He dies with 3 flashes in his inventory, so now no one can really repel in freely. The nades have been completely inefficient or ineffective, so Noodle just sits here and he shoots 3 people. He hits his shots. He wins his ones. Triple headshot.
Nuclear Noodle.
He's gone for another. He's got a
I missed
free
that. I was all
kill.
staring lovingly at your face, to be fair.
It was too much synergy for anybody to handle.
So at this point, the round's over. Let's just be blunt. Let's be real. The round is over. The only way Wolves would win this is if they get 5 2v1s and they do not trade a single time.
Nice triple kill for Noodle. Just to start him off at the beginning of the round here, and you know, as Fresh said in the break between rounds, in the interlude there where he came in and he said this is going to be a pain point for Wolves. They've struggled to attack these sites, and Noodle is not making it any easier for them. You know, in a 2 versus 5, that is likely to be an advantage for Koi coming in. You'd expect this to go 4-3 now, and the question mark obviously is, are they...
Okay. 1.
Are they going to run away with it? A dead shot. He certainly is a dead shot as he absolutely smashed.
Wah. So this is just this is an advantage. This is a lack of experience showing. So Deadshot gets his first one, and it's a fucking banger, right? Let's be real. This is a shot and a half. Boom, fucking Noodle's Noodle. But at this point, he's so hyped up, he's moving so quickly that he forgets that he's got a drone in pocket. And because he's got a drone in pocket, he can actually take the time now to clear out what's coming up in front of him. He's not in a 1 versus 5, he's in a 2 versus 5. He has another teammate, he has Shinka to use as well. And I assume Shinka has a drone. Yeah, Shinka has a drone somewhere. And he has a 1 clutch drone left, I think, by the looks of it. So there's plenty of ways to gather information here. And Shinka's not even that far away. He's repelling on Solarium. So with their combined efforts, they can clear a way for Shinka to repel in and then do the rest of the map. Look at the time. There's a minute and a half left on the clock. There's plenty of time for Wolves here to regroup and recoup. But this is just some inexperience of Deadshot showing. He's gotten hyped over his fucking banger of a shot. That's a NS GTFO fucking headshot I got on Noodle. But he didn't check his corners. He's got a drone, he's got a teammate. He jumped the gun. This falls under the umbrella of discipline and is one of the big things that is important at training your players with. Because it doesn't matter how good they are at an individual level. You can't win every gunfight, and you definitely can't win every gunfight if you aren't checking your corners. So it falls under a discipline and a fundamental. Give me 1 second, guys. I need to open the door and listen out for my food delivery guy. I'm getting my groceries delivered, and he's set to come now. I wanted to start the stream sooner, and I've also been rambling a lot, so give me 1 second. I'm back. Sorry, I also used the bathroom. It's just convenient because reasons. Alright, I gotta listen out to this door. When my delivery driver's here, I will take a short break. It should only be like 10 minutes to grab my things and put them away. So sorry about that. Thank you for sticking around. If you're here, make sure you do hit me with a follow, and if you feel like it, subscribe. But to continue on, but this time with one ear open to the door. So yeah, inexperience. So now it's on Shinka for a 1v4. So the situation is much worse for him now.
Not rattled by any of this, just quite happy to just proceed with the plan. They've lost one, that doesn't matter. They know that they'll get that trade back.
Shinka all alone with it all to do. 2 smokes in his back pocket. A drone if he so requires it, and 4 players to bring down for the round. Right kind of decision.
So I'm just gonna occasionally jump it forward a little bit. But yeah, at no point should Shinka have a 1v1. So yeah.
And so can bullets as deepeY manages to find the headshot from underneath, takes a trophy from Trophy as he finds.
Keep on talking to that round.
And that's in the potential.
You know, it's interesting. I haven't gotten a text message yet saying my driver's on the way. And he's supposed to be here now, so somewhere on the side of a road that bloody Asda van is tipped over or some shit. Anyway, skipping forward a little bit. See, the big thing here, the big differences between the bar defenses is that koY has made kill holes to see down the stairs towards basement from where Leon's playing. And this is one thing that Wolves didn't have, and it's one thing that allowed koY to just simply open up that stock wall from the stairs.
The connoisseurs can tell us.
I'm sure they will.
And then we can reference these spicy levels in week 3 on the final play day groups.
I'm sure they will. But yeah, it's the thought is tantalising of some of these teams from Group A meeting teams from Group B as well. You know, absolutely.
So again, Clutch Drone, as I said earlier, the best use for it is to remove information and gain information. There's a jump out here as well. Noodle impacts his way out of something. We hear the impact, but we don't quite see it. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? In garage. So he's going to impact his way out of garage and try and take a firefight, and he's going to lose it. I would say that's a calculated risk at the end of the day. Most teams, when they're attacking bar, go basement. Most teams want to kill that drone. They drone it. They shoot the camera, excuse me. And then they'll try and push up the stairs. So this is a risk from Noodle. It's just a player doing a thing, and it doesn't work out. That's fine. It's calculated, and I understand the reasoning behind it, so I'm not gonna bash it or talk down upon it. It was a smart play. Just doesn't always work out.
Managed to hack through both the default cam and the bulletproof there as well. I wonder if Leon is aware of this. Now he's aware because he's realised, oh, I can't get on my bulletproof. Has to shoot it out, and this really feels like one of the primary spots that we've seen these Bravo cams be successful, is in through the lobby door, hack the default cam. If there's a bulletproof on the stairs, hack that as well. Those seem to be the most secure spots right now, but I imagine teams will adapt to that on this map as time.
So where does deepeY die?
And this really feels like one of the primary because he's realised, oh, I can't get on my.
So Cryon's lurking in dining. That's completely normal. It's good to have a player there, so people can't just sneak up West Main and straight down short. It also means players can't jump in through Trophy and try and do like easier solarium takes if they want to clear across the top floor first. So that's fine. So deepeY is playing Suicide here, and he, by the looks of it, is he mollied out? Keeping an eye on Shinka. No, he's not. So I'm going to assume that deepeY, as you can see him just here, this is deepeY. He's playing in Suicide and Library. He's most likely just peeked out too far wide and died as a result of it, which is like slap on the wrist, but whatever. Those seem to be the most secure spots right now, but I imagine teams will adapt. I think the big thing here is how koY play the rest of this round. They're still in an okay position. I think if Wolves were a little bit more decisive, if Wolves are a little bit more quick, I can't think of a better word than quick on the call. I think they could easily dominate this round with just speed and force by brute forcing the bomb site. It's only leader there. Leon could help, but it's going to take him a good 5 seconds before he can efficiently do anything. Same with Cryan. So if Wolves here flood site, they can very easily overpower Leader. Leader maybe gets 1, maybe 2, but then Wolves get the bomb site, they flip the timer on the defense, and then they win the round off of that. But we'll see what they do. Cryan goes for a run out. And even so now, at this point here, this is the big point in the round where Wolves can just be like, all right, yep, we win. Leon's been downed. Cryan's been shown in trophy. Being realistic, the last guy's probably on site or close to site. If I'm Wolves, if I'm calling for Wolves, I'm saying flood the site. I'm saying, all right, guys, we're going to flood site in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. You want to give people a little bit of a longer time for flooding sites because they need to actually get close to the site or close to a staircase, a window, a door, whatever it'll be. And with that, they can just go. Because at this point, right, one guy jumps in this window that Leader's looking at. Leader gets the kill, 1-for-1 trade, yada, yada, yada. But now you know where Leader is. He's trapped towards where this default plant spot is. And any players pushing in through bar, pushing in through the mudroom to his right, they're gonna kill him or cut him off. But unfortunately, Wolves are dragging their feet a little bit. I think this is where confidence comes in. You just have to know that you're good enough to do these types of plays. And if you're not actually practicing these types of plays, then you wouldn't really know to do them. I think it was Heroic that did this probably the best, going back like 2 seasons. One thing Heroic did always very well is they just flood the site when they felt like they could win the round.
Wolves have picked up kills along the way, but now find themselves losing a man in Shinka, taken down by Leader, and that is now 4 versus 2. Wolves still in the serious ascendancy here in round 8 and can keep things level.
But because the pace of the round hasn't been dictated by the attackers, it's still dictated by the defense. Even in a 4v2, Koi still has a decent shot to win this round. Yes, there's a lot of time on the board. Obviously, Wolves should win this round, but Koi can still win this round quite simply.
So for Wolves to be fighting to keep it level at 4-all, it's actually doing pretty well for them.
No, I massively agree. Yeah, they have stayed really competitive, and I look again down the kill feed or the kill scoreboard on either side, and the balance.
Truth be told, like if you have a team and you're listening, if you ever get it to like this situation of 4v2, you know roughly where one of the guys, or even a 4v3, and you know roughly where one of the guys is, just practice like in your scrims, just flooding the bomb site. Just do it once a map, just test it out, see how it works out. I guarantee you'll see more interesting results that way. You'll win rounds faster and in a more dominating fashion. And the one thing that people don't talk about is the mental side of things and the effect that it has on a player's psyche. That if you just like get 2 kills and then you're on the bomb site 10 seconds later, like killing the anchor player, it's demoralizing being in like this position. Like for example, let's say Leader's dead here and let's revive Noodle. Oh, my driver's on the way. Wow, about fucking time. Let's say like Leader's dead, but let's revive Noodle and put Noodle in the basement. If Wolves have the bomb site, it's so disheartening to try and retake those things and knowing full well that you're walking into crossfires or you're in a very unwinnable situation.
Impressive that everyone is getting themselves involved in this game, but you are looking for someone to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and really drive it forward, but you won't complain about team efforts either, especially with how things are looking to go here.
But yeah, this round should have been over a minute ago. I think Wolves are dragging their feet. I think one of the biggest things the attackers can do is set the pace of the round. And just giving players room to breathe is it's allowing Koi a semblance of hope of winning the round. Smoker's alive. They don't know that he's only got 1 gas canister left at this point, but equally Koi are pretty safe and pretty comfortable in their positions. This is one big thing that allows players to clutch, is that they don't feel that pressure that they have to clutch, if that makes sense. Excuse me. Cryan, no issues at all. He's just chilling and dining, holding fireplace. He's completely safe. He's completely fine. Leader's feeling the heat a little bit. He's just been droned, but if I've been droned and nothing happens after a few seconds, I'm thinking, why the fuck did I just get droned? What a waste of a drone. But there the push finally comes, and there's a wallbang as well. That's unlucky. But yeah, this drop that Deadshot does here is very good. I highly recommend you use it in your own games. You can't be shot from short. You can't be shot from most of the fireplace or from this angle that Cryan's holding. And if you're being flanked above as well at the same time, it's a really safe way to get down into bar very quickly. And it puts you immediately into the fight. You basically just drop onto someone or into someone's line of sight. But it's an unexpected thing to do, so it kind of evens the playing field. As you can see that Deadshot drops here and just immediately peeks in, and he gets the firefight with Leader instantly. But anyway, the flood comes and there you finally go. It took 1 minute and 20 seconds for them to do this, which is a long time, but they got it done eventually. The lower that time it takes, the bigger chance the defense has to win, so if you can execute sooner, it's a good goal to set for your team, just like a 1 month goal. Alright guys, we're going to see if we can close rounds out quicker than normal. It improves your IGL's ability to think on the spot, come up with executions quicker. It allows people to be all put on the same page, and after 1 month you've built a ton of really good habits that allows you to dictate the pace. It gives your IGL a bunch of experience in calling things on the fly a lot quicker, and it also makes you really good at executions.
The connector can't do so, but Mowgli can. Mowgli also picks up Cryan, a nice double at the end to finish for Wolves, and that leaves us 4-4 on the scoreboard, and this one...
I feel like it's boiling up to that.
I want overtime. Losing things here. There's not terrible mistakes coming out. What we're seeing is players like Noodle going in there and getting a 3 kill and just opening things up and creating space, and that's been fantastic to watch so far. Entertainment in this one definitely at a peak.
This downstairs one's an interesting one because again we've seen such sun coming down through the dining hatch at the ability to play inside of their challenge. Yeah.
Skip it forward a wee bit. Have a look a little bit later into the round. Not much is really going to happen. Nothing crazy from either lineup. It's strange, man, saying nothing crazy with the lineup in this modern age and seeing things like Capcan there. You go back like a few years, and if you're running Capcan, you're actually trolling. Like you're just fucking around. But nowadays he's actually really strong.
Just about ready if needs be, but Wolves at the minute not leaning immediately into the top floor clearance. They're going to open the snowmobile wall. meepeY's going to hang around for the time.
So Koi have gone with a default wall opened like this, and the shield is a little bit off to the side. I think these holes are a little bit too high. The main reason being is because you want the holes here to be in between standing and crouching. Because when you place holes like this that are standing, the shield becomes useless to actually sit behind. It becomes basically just an old style shield with no kill holes in it. But if you place the shield, the holes a little bit lower, at least you can see out of the shield and out of the breach here. And that's going to allow deepeK to know when he needs to switch his gadget on a little bit sooner. Because it does have that tiny little bit of a warm-up time.
But it looks like Shinka is heading round to the rear side. They don't have an ace on side, so they are going to be limited to the hard breach of the thermite and the 2 secondary gadgets of the Book of P4, so they need to be careful that they're not losing those players because they need to be opening up this rear side. But
double roamers, that's fine. It doesn't look like they're running gatekeepers. Yeah, not really any gatekeeping.
That they're not losing those players because they need to be opening up this rear side, but as it stands, Wolves have done nothing about the 2 top floor players.
So it's a minute off the clock. Wolves haven't really achieved anything apart from the taking pillar control, but that doesn't really mean too much, just jumping in one window. The biggest thing here is trapping the roamers and killing the roamers, and then making plays off of that later into the round. Here we're going to have a firefight, maybe? Yeah, there you go. So here... If Leader knows that Mowgli is here, the call should come down to a double peek.
Now Leon's here looking for a challenge on towards Mowgli. I mentioned about him wanting to be the one to contest these stairs. It's a 2-man swing.
And there it is. Okay, there you go.
Leon got that one because that could have gone wrong very quickly.
It's going to be 4 versus 4 then.
By the looks of it, Leader was the one to call this 3-2-1 peek, and I think Leader kind of jumped the gun by like half a second, but I think the double peek is fine, and a trade 1-for-1 at this point is perfectly okay. Again, that's just in the spirit of min-maxing things. He nearly kills Leon, but yeah. I think Leader went a little bit too fast in that swing. I think Leon needed more time to prepare for that swing. But hey ho, they got the 1-for-1. That's some nades off the board.
Just being pushed back down Westminster's towards site. Manages to get down there safely. Crying, he's going to try to hold on to Dining. The hatch in there can be all important, as we know. And that again is another position Wolves maybe need to force him out of. But he could drop back down here. But of course, as the
so now we enter like the lull of the round. Like nothing's happening. There's nothing crazy going on at this point in the round. It's on Koi to start thinking about where's the execution going to come from, what information do we have. So for example, Crying all the way in Trophy, he should be saying, well, there's nothing happening this side. I hear no one entering car garage below me. Noodle should be saying the same, like, yeah, no one's coming in through trench. Deepak and Leon have a crossfire set up here on the stairs. This is really fine. This is good. My only issue with this is the gaping weakness of someone just walking in through the breach. The thing is, though, is that it's not going to happen that often that someone just walks in this breach as an attacker. It's the intimidation factor that a lot of Rainbow Six players, even at the professional level, give in too much. It's almost like being lion scanned or lion pinged rather. Like people, they put so much weight on that ping that they stand still and they don't want to be pinged. When in reality, it's just a ping. It's a fake pressure essentially, and this entire open like radius of FOV, I don't know how to explain it, but this like triangle that I'm forming here is all focusing on this breach, and it creates the illusion of pressure where someone can't walk in here. But the reality is, guys, and I mean this very seriously, if you drone in through this breach, there's no one playing bookshelf, no one is like shoulder peeking blue door, no one is peeking the kill holes, and no one's in connector. Just walk in. Announce to your team you're making a play and just walk in. Think about it logically, right? If no one's in connector, no one's peeking blue aggressively, that means either he's left side blue or right side blue playing it far back, as in where Deepak is or where Leon is. If no one's on bookshelves, they're on the stairs. And if no one's peeking aggressively on like this angle here that I'm circling, and no one's in connector, then he's either further back where this reinforcement is, or he's on this reinforcement here. That's just like a logic thing. You go through step 1 through a process of elimination, step 1 through 5, and when he's not in any of those spots, he has to be in the last one. Same goes for when you're like wanting to pre-fire a room. When you're entering a room, check the room. It's called slicing the pie in strangely in military terms. You clear the room at a slice at a time, and the more slices you clear without finding someone, the higher likelihood someone is in the later slices. When you get to that final slice and you've not had a gunfight that entire time, you should be pre-firing. That's just a little bit of a tidbit to pre-fire more. If you clear a whole room and there's one spot left, and you know someone's in the room, then you know where to pre-fire. But same goes for fake pressure. If you can clear out all the spots with a drone, every spot you clear alleviates some of that fake pressure, until eventually you realize that there actually was never any pressure on the breach at all.
Every single player of Wolves is down here on the south, working their way down blue stairs, looking for the main stairs, looking for the hatch lobby in towards connector, just everything being on this side of the map. So at some point, Crime will have to move.
And as a tidbit, that's how players get away with some crazy things.
Personally, I think I'd quite like to see a backstep from him, work your way through the map, rather than being on the downstairs with the rest of your teams.
But now, because Wolves made some noise above, they breach charged the floor, they announced their direction a little bit more clearly by getting open the connector hatch, breach charging the floor. Deepak has now rotated to his final position, which is going to be challenging the main breach. Wolves don't have smokes, so they're going to be just kind of dry pushing this. I think Deadshot in this position, so long as he checks his corners, he should be okay. He does have a drone on the field somewhere in the map, so if I'm Deadshot, I'd be droning this, but he maybe have placed a flank drone, but we'll see. But yeah, right now Wolves are in a pretty decent position. They just have to contest with essentially a Warden, which he should be peeking into multiple people, the Warden, and then Deadshot needs to check his corner to make sure Leon isn't here.
Leon as the Legion knows that Deadshot
Noodle is flanking as well.
At the blue stairs here, there was a goo mine activated, and he's just waiting. He knows he's low health, so he doesn't really want to take a gunfight. He's hoping he's not been droned, and then he can just get him an absolute freebie. If Deadshot's aware, he would get the kill if he got it positioned correctly, but Shinka's going to be in a position to start putting the diffuser down. Noodle picks up P4 though, and right now that is actually a bit of a coup, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold on to this. I'm not sure. Bibu's got a long
Well. Okay, that's a lot to break down. So, Noodle gets P4 here. So we know that P4 is the Buck player. Here, this is where the Buck is. Cryan opens the long line of sight here, and Noodle peeks it further back in West Main. So that's a really good, like, you know, 1-for-1. It attributes back to a few rounds ago when Koi were on the attack, where you get one guy to repel on a window, establish a line of sight, and then your friend shoots open the barricade so that you're immediately there, you're aiming exactly what you want, and you have a full magazine. Same goes for this when you have a shotgun pistol. You shotgun open the wall whilst your friend is looking and waiting for it. And that's a really good way to get a quick kill. And Deadshot plays this really well. He recognizes that he doesn't actually need to push down and put pressure on back blue. Instead, he can just stay here and hold a generalized angle on the door. He knows he's been flanked because he's been told by his teammates, so he's actually aware for the flank more than anything. But again, he's just making sure that no one can push blue door aggressively into Snowmobile, which is fine. That's the right play. deepeY kills Shinka as he's gone for the plant. As I said before, the problem with planting on the bins is that the player in deepeY's position can actually peek the bins without any pressure from the garage breach. Literally, the wall is bulletproof, and if deepeY slices the pie, checks the bins, then the right side of the breach, then the middle of the breach, then the left side of the breach. Well, he's literally checked the first slice of this pie and found the guy planting the diffuser. You can add more slices to this pie by lurking your attacker down to bookshelf, setting him on the stairs looking towards the bomb site itself. That adds 2 more sections of pie that deepeY has to clear, and that allows your player on the bins to plant more securely. But P4, as we know, was playing above. He was shot by Noodle, so there is no pressure on those first sections. And that is my food delivery. I will be... So we have standard definition quality now. It looks like shite. It's going to probably take like 10 minutes to process. 13 minutes according to YouTube. So I'm going to leave that over here on the side. And I'll let that process. And when that's ready, we can watch it together. And I'll link it in the chat and all that. So let's get a move on. So we're currently at 4-4. It's round 9. The diffuser has been planted by Wolves, but they are losing the round pretty horrifically, as we're about to see. So, here we go.
Actually, a bit of a coup, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold on to this. I'm not sure. Bibu's got a long angle, though. It is possible, but...
So, I think Bibu has the best intentions here, going really far away and kind of playing it safe. I'm gonna assume he's got a drone to looking at the diffuser, for looking at the diffuser, excuse me. But by the looks of it, probably not. So he peeks out there. I think he reveals himself because of the way that this rock is shaped. From his perspective, he peeks outside of the rock, but his entire lower half of his body is already revealed in this location here that I'm circling. So I think deepeY got an angle on him just as he pulled away. Yeah, they know exactly what it is. Excuse me.
I want to see Wolves put themselves into positions where they can refrag each other out and not just rely.
That's actually a good point, as the drone economy looks super low. 2 drones left. Artifacts. I've been keeping an eye on this drone cat up here. Bro, it's wrong. Like, half the time it's wrong. It's still bugged and broken like the old system was.
On these hero plays that keep coming out.
I had one round in the prep phase where a drone died, according to this, and then it came back to life like 5 seconds later. It's so weird. It's inconsistent.
Looking out for that trade-based play, teamwork being the core part of his message there.
Like, a drone just got shot, but it still shows as there being 10 drones on the board. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You know, they've got to start, you know, putting Kai in difficult positions if they can, and ensuring that there's a minimum of the trade. And the way that you do that is you push them in a 2v1. You find a defender, you move in together with a couple of you, and you just create that.
Like, apparently there are 9 oh, that's reinforcements, but yeah, the drones are up here this time around. Yeah, they got swapped around. I got fucked up there. But yeah, the drone count's now up here. Sorry, I was literally not looking at it. The drone count's up here now. But it's still inconsistent as fuck.
Round 10 then, as Wolves have, despite, I think, you know, being the second team in the server here to a Kai that are looking much better than yesterday.
God, that's an awful combination. White on bright orange. Fucking... Fucking hell.
They've kept themselves within 1 round. It's good. They got the diffuser down last round.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. I got it right the right round. This is a new UI.
As Fresh has quite rightly pointed out, the difficulty is on attack, and they are going to continue on sites that they may struggle with, kitchen and dining being the choice for Kai.
Alright, okay, so now we're like 30 seconds into the round and 0 fucking things have happened. We'll look at the Wolves lineup. Wolves lineup is looking pretty old school, like Ashe, Zofia, Ayana. Go back a year and a half, 2 years. This would be pretty much the staple, and the Sledge too. The only the only thing worth noting though is Ying, and the lack of hard breach as well is a big one.
Absolutely, but I'm looking towards, say for example, the Ying here. When all else fails, bring in the Ying, roll out the candelas, the smokes, anything else you make.
So obviously it's a Solarium take. Just based on positions alone, you can immediately know it's a Solarium take. So at this point in time, Koi should be basically thinking like this player over here. I can't quite tell who it is by the outline, maybe leader on Alibi. He basically should be like, all right guys, I'm hearing nothing library, nothing games, nothing's coming in through the basement camera. It's a Solarium take. And I think obviously at this point the players on site getting droned. Solarium camera is probably being fucked around with. The Solarium windows are open. Koi knows that it should be a Solarium take at this point. The question, though, is how much of a Solarium take is it? Are there any players West Main? Is anyone entering Car Garage below? Is anyone entering Snowmobile below? Those are the open questions. Now, we saw in a previous round, Wolves decided to brute force their way in. They had Bibu repelling on the master window, and we had, I think it was like Shink and P4 double repelled in through Solarium. I compared it with like when you punch someone in your dreams. They had no impact at all. Noodle just got a really quick 3k. They had no use of utility, no use of flashbangs, no smokes, no nades, nothing. They just dry repelled in and all just got shot 1 by 1. But this time they've changed it up and they're now bringing the Ying, which is the big change. But the one thing that I already don't like about this is the lack of the master bedroom window presence. This repel here is the strongest repel in the game, and I don't give a flying fuck what you say. This repel literally cuts the bomb site in half. I know the bomb site's downstairs, but when you're in this position here on Koi, you want to hold on to office, you want to hold on to master, and you want to hold on to bathroom and piano. Essentially, it's quadranted, and you need to hold on to as many of those quadrants as you can to make it hard to push. If you have hold of piano, you don't really need office, and if you have hold of office, you don't really need piano, but it's a bit of an iffy, tossy-turny type thing. But the lack of the player on this window means that anyone from Koi can rotate between those 4 quadrants freely.
Here as well, they're looking to just go pretty hard on this top 4, ensure they've got coverage inside a solo.
So immediately now we're getting nades from the Naden operators here onto bathroom. No one's playing in there. And instead we've been debated entirely. So this Ying Candela, it appears to be trying to prevent a player from being on Solarium stairs or someone close on the closet here where the silhouette of Noodle is, or where Noodle actually is rather. But he's playing wooden, so the Ying isn't going to have a crazy impact on him. But the real push is actually happening here. What we're going to see is Deadshot jump in. I assume Bibu is going to follow, and P4 and Mowgli should jump in too. So this is a big site crunch. So the reason why this site crunch comes in is because what you actually have here is P4 droning the site itself. He sees DPEC and only DPEC, which means that the remaining players are either upstairs or they're in library. This is where time to rotate comes in, specifically for the players that are not noodled. It's directly above where my cursor is. So Deadshot's going to jump in. meepeY jumps in with the diffuser. Now we know that P4 was on one of these windows over here. He's just been shot. He's likely been shot from ladder window by Leon or jump out from mudroom. We don't quite see where it's going to come from. That's just general good game sense or good knowledge. You know that the push is coming in from Solarium side. Always reading it as dead shit. Yeah, if you notice, he added the O, he got rid of the X to remove that questionable perception. But yes, back where we were. Leon's basically killed one of the two naders. I think P4 only had a nade left when he died. Oh no, he had both nades left. Wow, okay, only Mowgli was nading. So that's a pretty big loss for Wolves in general. But they are going to try and go for map control in the same swing here. Deadshot commits a grave sin here. He gets about halfway through committing to his push and gives up on it. So now meepeY and Deadshot are lined up. If meepeY was stood up here and was shooting meepeY, he'd likely kill Deadshot as well. So he said it so many times as dead shit. Oh god. So now like the main push is stalled here. The Ying, the Candelas have come out, the main push has come in, and this is giving valuable time to Koi to rotate back to site or rotate to power positions to prevent the push. meepeY's done it right. He's gone prone. He's holding this nice little angle here. And will likely catch meepeY off, which he does. And again, if Deadshot did his job here as a hard entry fragger and pushed in with meepeY, we likely would have seen a 1-for-1 trade. But unfortunately, because Deadshot got cold feet and wanted to wait for meepeY to make a mistake, he's actually sacrificed meepeY. And you can see here that two players have also rotated back to site. I said before, time to rotate comes important here. It is actually something that is vastly underlooked and rarely ever talked about in Rainbow Six is the time to rotate. It's talked about a lot in Valorant, in CSGO, in maps where the bomb sites are spread out. But when you're roaming, time to rotate is actually very important. You need to be close enough to site to get back quickly, but far enough away to make an impact or be able to hear what's happening around you that teammates on site won't hear. And the time to rotate for Koi was very quick, very snappy. Two players back on site pretty much almost immediately. And meepeY's also played it a little bit aggressive though, but he hits the shots anyway. I say this quite a lot to my players on Koi, and I say it sometimes to others, is that if you make a play and on paper the play is bad, but you succeed, Twitch chat will pog. If you fail, Twitch chat will lull. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, the outside influence doesn't matter. What matters is the play you made itself. Was it the right play? Was it the wrong play? I think him standing up here and taking the fight to Deadshot is probably not the best move he could have made. I think playing it safe and playing it a little bit slower here would have been a little bit better. Obviously, Deadshot knows exactly where he is, but if Deadshot's not pushing, this is hindsight. If Deadshot's not pushing and Deadshot's not actually trying to change his angle and get a kill, for the kill, excuse me, then meepeY is safe to just play that. Obviously, we know that two players, and meepeY should have been told this, that two players have rotated in behind him. So his position is actually more secure than he probably thinks. It kind of wanes on the min-max reality. And expecting people to play the best all the time, make the best decisions all the time is unreliable and to a degree unreasonable. But for the sake of analysis, we do always try and strive for perfection. Yeah, even as Ace says there, like he stands up and wins the fight. So it's a pretty efficiently shut down push. The shortcoming from this really does come, like even P4 dying outside, this should have been a Wolves round pretty decisively. There's a drone next to meepeY that no one really gives a fuck about. Deadshot gets to here, turns around and runs back, and that's where the round is lost. Deadshot didn't commit, because if we actually rewind it back, and then basically I want you to tie meepeY and Deadshot together and look at their actions as they move, like going one frame at a time. Let me play it out for a second. meepeY is yet to hold the angle on the door. Deadshot at this point has meepeY dead to rights. Now meepeY is looking at the door, but Deadshot's already stopped. He's already turning away. He's already given up on the push, and he's the entry fragger, which is a grave sin. And now meepeY has his off angle, just as Deadshot and Bibu peek his original position. If Deadshot commits, Bibu gets the trade, 100%. At this point now, I'm also starting to question where Mowgli is. Has Mowgli jumped in yet? Because we know that Mowgli is down here somewhere. In fact, we can see his outline just between Leader and Koi here. He's not jumping in. I think what he's doing is holding the stairs here, but that's not really necessary. Only now he jumps in, and now he dies to Leader. Because, time to rotate. Koi are back on site. If Mowgli is there sooner, or he's on pace with Deadshot to commit to a push, I think Wolves storm the site. I don't think Leader and Leon get back in.
But somehow meepeY gets up and wins the fight. Has only one thing going for him here, Des.
So, I always point this out in 1vx clutches. This is a 1v5. You're not supposed to win these. To win this, Shinka needs to get 5 1v1s in a row. Or he needs to hit some insane flicks when he gets double peaked. Excuse me. The biggest problem that we had on Koi in my time of coaching is that we would throw a lot of man advantages away. And this was primarily because players would set themselves up in really bad post-plant positions, really bad counter-clutch positions, or they just physically couldn't help themselves and peaked. And it didn't matter how much we like hammered it in, like don't peak, get crossfires, talk to each other. It is just seemingly human nature in Rainbow Six Siege when you're in a 1 versus 5 to peak, or a 5 versus 1 to peak. It's very difficult to get out of players' heads. But equally, when you actually have 5 players that synergize well, coordinate well, position well, it's so satisfying from like an analytical perspective, from a coach's perspective, to see no one giving anything to Shinka.
And that is time. 1 minute 45.
He has 1 minute and 40 seconds on the clock, right?
They tried to just rush, they tried to get in there, they tried to have it.
It's a long time for... It's only a minute and a half, but it's a long time for someone to focus on one specific thing. But it does give Koi plenty of time to coordinate post-plant positions. Like, literally, you could have, like, a 3-man totem crossfire, whatever, and a 2-man totem crossfire somewhere else. But there's plenty of time to set things up. Shinka should get absolutely nothing. In Shinka's perspective, he should just be giving time to his team to talk. Cool. I'm going to pause. Immediately, I see Koi's positions here, and I'm like... Essentially, I can see immediately 3 1v1s that Shinka could get if he was a more aggressive player. Shinka is quite historically a more passive player, but there's definitely room for him to get a bunch of fights and a bunch of picks here, not trades, excuse me. Back in my day, in my Ash days, which is a strange thing to say, essentially in year 2, transitioning to year 3, just the state of the team that I was on at the time, I was in Shinka's position a lot, and that actually gave me so much training on how to clutch situations like this. And the biggest thing is time. The faster you play, the better. You don't have time to drone things, you don't have time to double check things, you just have to go, and you just essentially have to try and isolate as many 1v1s as you can. The one big thing you have here is the surprise factor. And even when people know where you are, you can still have that surprise factor by just playing fast. You can have mechanics and you can just play people by like shoulder peeking or knife checking doorways and things like that to get people to give up positions. But the big thing is to just go. Don't crouch around, just go. Go for the site. That's the big one. Go for the site and just go for it. The slower you play, the less time you have, and the more time they have to hear you, right? Let's say Shinka goes around this corner to piano, right? And he kind of hits a beeper, hits a goo mine, whatever. Immediately, Koi will start to tighten the net around him and crush him. But if he plays super fast, if he was here 20 seconds earlier, going back 20 seconds earlier, you got one guy downstairs, one guy Solarium, like Solarium stairs, one guy's playing in office, one guy's on the site, 2 guys on the site. Like, if he was really fast here, he could potentially get really, really quick 1v1s. But now, because he's waited so long, they've all changed their positions a bit. They've all moved around a little bit. And now that opportunity isn't really present as much as it could have been. You're not supposed to win a 1 versus 5. You're not. But because he was so slow, Cryan's now got an aggressive angle on him, and he dies because of it. If he sprints past that gap, Cryan's forced to swing. And that's the big thing when it comes to pixel peeks as well. It's like a tidbit of information. If you know someone's going to hold a pixel peek, the way that most pixel peeks work is that there's an angle close to you, and there's an angle close to me, and somewhere in the middle, I'm holding you. So you can see my left eye here. That's a pixel peek, obviously. But if I sprint past your pixel peek, your innate reaction as a player is like a ball being thrown for a dog. Like, they just got to go for it. Like, if you sprint past the pixel peek, he's going to swing you. But you can use that to your advantage. You can know there's a pixel peek. You can know that someone's on a pixel peek holding you. If you full send sprint past the pixel peek, stop and then pre-fire where the guy's going to come from, you enter a situation where you've essentially bypassed what is a pixel peek, where he has all the advantage, and instead entered the realm of more of a 50-50. And it gives you a higher chance of winning the fight, if you have to fight a pixel peek. In a lot of situations, I wouldn't really recommend fighting pixel peeks. Pixel peeks always favor the person that has established the line of sight themselves first. And if you have to peek a pixel peek without sprinting, you have to pre-fire. People value surprise and like stealth more than anything else in this game for some fucking reason. When we know fully well that the defenders are all looking out in the bomb site, looking out of the bomb site. And even when roaming as well, like there's some common spots. I talked about it earlier when slicing the pie. If this is it, from my understanding, it is a military term to slice the pie. But if you're clearing a room, you typically want to start on the one side of the door, and then you clear the room from this side around, and you slice the room into sections, and those sections are common spots. So, for example, from this here, we know that Shinka has to fight this room one slice at a time. So his first slice would actually be office door. Is anyone in office door playing me aggressively? We're going to assume that he's cleared close to office breach to the balcony. We assume that that's reinforced, barricaded, not touched. He clears the office door, then he clears the pixel peek, then he clears the bathroom peek, then he clears behind the piano, then he clears close piano. That's the way that he'd have to do this step by step by step. And if he has sound in the room, if he knows what's going on here, if he knows that someone's here, the more positions he clears, the more he needs to pre-fire. But the one thing I'd always pre-fire is this position where Cryan is. Because at the end of the day, they know you're coming. He has the information. Maybe the library camera's still alive. There's no reason not to pre-fire, especially because I think he's running a suppressor. Yeah, he's running a suppressor as well. Suppressors in video games are very unrealistic. Suppressors in real life are actually a lot louder than you'd think. But in this game, when you've got people talking to each other, when you've got the game, natural sounds moving, ADS wiggling around, all that shit, there's no reason not to pre-fire. But yeah, should have pre-fired. I don't think holding angles is that great in Siege anymore. It's not. Kinda. It depends on the ping. Especially in Europe where like you have such a crazy mixing pot of pings. That and acting like Siege has good directional sound. Yeah, but I'm saying he knows someone's in the room. Directional sound for me has literally never worked in my like 7 or 8 years of playing. I've gone through many different pairs of earbuds and headsets. I've used the same earbuds and headsets that teammates have used, and they've had perfect sound, and I've not. It literally just comes down to the combination of everything. Sound is only good for telling you there's someone in a room. Maybe. Some people have great sound just because of the setup. And some people just don't ever get good sound because of reasons. But yeah. Chinka should have pre-fired. He should have known better. I hope this bottle of Pepsi does not explode.
A little bit of breathing room and see if they can formulate a plan to battle back in.
We're good.
Well, it's maybe not the worst time because they're likely to be attacking onto Bar and Gaming. It's a site that they've already won. So, yeah, get your discussion, get everything leveled off.
Yeah, Tara, exactly.
Back in on a
All right, tactical timeout. Is this a good timeout time? Yeah, this is a good timeout time. The game has been really close. Going back some now. Like it was 4-4, then it got away with them to a 6-4. So timeout now is pretty good. Majority of my deaths right now have been Ferrari peaked and dying to shots where I'm not anymore, but the game thinks I'm still there. If you're dying to Ferrari peaks, you got to stop holding an angle so close. I'll try and rewind and get a better example. I'm thinking Shinka pushing pillar here would be quite good.
If anybody wants that kill, maybe he picks up 1 or 2 and a 1v3 certainly.
So I'm going to pause right here. Right, so you're dying to Ferrari peaks, right? So when you... So just as a general test, I want you to be completely honest. You're Shinka here. You're aiming at this doorway. Where is your crosshair? Be honest, because I know this suddenly sounds like a trick question, because being realistic with you, it is a trick question. Where is your crosshair? We've all been drilled good crosshair placement and things like that, but there is more to crosshair placement than what I assume you are about to type. Office. Near the corner. Well, let's just assume it's this doorway. Only this doorway. Only this doorway. Only this doorway. Right? But here, where my show in chat who'd aim about where my crosshair is, about where my mouse is. That's one. Be honest. This is a trick question. I'm being honest with you, so be honest with me. Would you aim where my mouse is? Oscar's got the right answer. Yeah, the answer is a little bit more to the left. It's more like there. The only reason why you'd ever aim here is if someone is going to like peek close. There's two peaks. There's peeking close and peeking wide. A wide peak is more commonly known as a Ferrari peak now, because that's what it's been, memed as. If someone is coming up to an edge or a corner, right? So this is you over here, and I'm over here. If I'm doing like this, then yeah, holding where my mouse cursor is going to get you the kill, because he's only peeking with his head. He's shoulder peeking you. He's peeking you close. But the vast majority of people, when they're clearing things, if you aim just a little bit more to the side, what you are now doing is giving your reaction speed a chance to exist. I'm just waiting for him to move so I can get a better example. So, if you can see here, when I'm peeking doors in Siege, you have to give yourself the ability to react. You can have perfect crosshair placement, where the dot of your 1.5 is literally on the pixel of this door frame. You can train that in a custom game. You can play matches of it. You can literally do that over and over and over and over and over. But unless that guy literally just peeks his head around the corner, it's useless. Because you have to react in time. If he's going to swing you, you now have to do more work to move your cursor to the right as he's swinging you. But if you aim more like here, the moment that you see his shoulder gun, whatever, peek around here, you just start shooting and you'll immediately headshot them. But if you're holding a pixel peek or you expect them to shoulder peek you, then yeah, you hold it 1 pixel off the door frame, you shoulder peek, so you get the shot, you get the kill. Just remember, no matter how good you are at recoil control, the gun does sway in literally every which way direction. Even a little bit, which means if you are holding 1 pixel on the door, all of your bullets, half of them will hit the door frame and half of them will go to the right side of the door frame. So only about half of them will probably end up hitting. But then we get into the caveat where door frames are kind of penetrable, but not really penetrable, and it depends on the map and how the map's been modeled and yada, yada, yada. But generally, pixel on the door frame if you're going to get shoulder peaked. I usually put the ring here on the door frame, specifically this spot, so I can give my reaction speed a chance to catch up. Anyway.
See if they can formulate a plan to battle back in.
Well, it's maybe not the worst time, so it can be but just going into
Hey, Penguin.
a round that you are comfortable with the site you're attacking is good. I think this is actually
Timeout. So what would I say if I'm in the Wolves timeout? I'd say we need to be more decisive. I'd say that we need to stop pussying out on a lot of our pushes and be quicker. We saw it in an earlier round where Wolves essentially had a 4v1 on site where two players were, where Bibu was, no, yeah, it was like a 4v2, I think. Wolves had a 4v2 where it was just Leader and Cryan. Leader on site, Cryan was in dining, and it took them a minute and a half to execute on site. They won the round eventually, but they needed to be much quicker on that. They could have been much quicker on that, and it's a good exercise to practice in custom games. Or alternatively, it's a good exercise to practice in your scrims. When you're in a big man advantage, just send it to site and see how it goes and get good at that. That way you can be more decisive, your IGL gets more experience on calling on the fly, and your team just becomes generally good at clearing the bomb site. And of course we had a previous round as well, where Deadshot did not commit to his entrying push for the kitchen and dining bomb site, and he ultimately lost the round because they just didn't get deep enough quick enough.
Haven't really had a chance to play it yet. Super short is the secondary. Not bad on maps like this, where you've got to do a lot of vertical destruction. I know she's not really a replacement for like a buck or a sledge, but gets part of the way towards doing a job. It's like the alternative of bringing Thatcher is DKB with the mini impact EMPs, right?
Well, the thing is as well, it starts making a, you know, it changes that maybe the sort of players that can pick up and play Bravo because it makes her self-sufficient. She can go out there and just do a job on her own. You know, she doesn't need somebody to go along and support her. She doesn't need that. You know, very much in the same way that we've seen Ace in that position. You know. Interestingly,
Wolves placed this camera on their defense as well, so I'm starting to see this camera a little bit more often.
We've seen, yes,
it's pretty decent. The reason why this camera is pretty decent is because of the angle that it's at. When you come out of, when you jump in, you can't shoot the camera, you have to punch it.
much in the same way that we've seen
It's very difficult to shoot. And if you are opening up these walls here, you cannot shoot it. You have to run across to shoot it. So as we see a lot of teams hacking this camera, or they're trying to nade it. But I'm pretty sure it could potentially get shot from the window down here. I think the angle maybe is there. I can't quite remember. No, the angle's not there. Never mind. Oh, so here the canine guy? Yeah, that works too. Skip like 20 seconds in. Nothing happened. Flores is on the board.
See, who would pay for that?
What,
The grey join the brown. Why would you do that?
I don't know. Maybe it's an aesthetic.
Man, this is becoming more and more common in like real life housing. God, it's so ugly. I'll take the fucking walnut floorboards over whatever the fuck this shit is every day.
It's a 4-1.
Maybe it's a style thing.
Flores is so good for Chalet. Yes, but can you tell me the reason why he's so good for Chalet?
It's horrible. Look, you get rattled about main stairs. I get rattled about really badly placed planks.
You're not happy with the decor?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
Imagine if you bought a chalet and you walked into that. That's the first.
Housing analysis needed. UK market in shambles. Good luck. There you go. Removing the shield, you need to play in key positions. It's more so that you can just get the drones in so easily. Like every bomb site has an easy access drone hole. Dining drone holes right here. Bar drone holes right here. Games room drone hole right there. You can jump in from the ladder window and just immediately detonate the drone at an angle. Get rid of the shield at the top of the stairs. Like it's so easy to just get a drone into this map. And by extension, it's easy to get Flores drones in. The only bomb site where it's a little bit hard to get your Flores drones going quick enough is Master. The only realistic one you have is jumping them in through either the bathroom or the piano window, which is mute jammed or easily shot.
Imagine if you bought a chalet and you walked into that. That's the first thing you see in the lobby.
Imagine if you bought a chalet.
Check the new role for Deepak. I'm not sure. Excuse me. Like, I've seen someone else on Echo before on this lineup, and I don't agree with that. I think meepeY is the best Echo player in the game, and I think he's the best Echo player we've ever had in the game. And obviously it's banned for this map, but when they played Wild, someone else was playing Echo, and that really was like a head scratcher for me. But you never know, they may have changed a bunch that I just don't have a clue about. All right, I'm going to release my new shorts. Publish. There you go, guys. There's my new shorts. I'm gonna quickly tweet about it. Give me 1 minute, please. Video details, copy paste the title. Bosh. And I will self-post that to Reddit later for the karma. God damn it, bro. I hate that Twitter now defaults for the For You page. My For You page is so bizarre, man. But there we go. Cool. Go leave a like, subscribe, all that shite. I mean, it's copied in there. I'll put it on the underside as well. But the link is in there. No, don't play. I don't want to hear my own voice. Cool. There we go. All right, back to the action. Aren't you Twitch link when you go live? Oh, it's weird. It doesn't always push it to everyone, and it doesn't help with interactions, and it doesn't help people see. Ah! I pressed the button. There we go. All right, let's get back on track.
On that left side of
Vertical leads the
Twitter bad, got it, yeah. Yeah, Elon kind of fucked it up, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, okay, we were like here.
Look, you get rattled about main stairs. I get rattled about really badly placed planks.
You're not happy with the decor?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
So what we have is a Solarium clear, but it's a bit of a scuffed Solarium clear. They've dedicated the Warden to upside down repelling on Master Bedroom. You got Shinka droning, Deadshot waiting to jump in. This has already all been droned, so I'm not quite sure why they're wasting time. As you can see right here, P4 is droning, P4 is droning this, Shinka's droning this. So I don't really know why Deadshot is waiting to jump in. He should be in already behind the drone. Warden repelling, Flores, sorry. Blech.
That's the first thing you see in the lobby. Imagine.
So Deadshot, again, showing signs of being a bit slow. He needs to really get in behind these drones to make use of them. Same with P4, but P4 is in now, which is good. But like a minute is left on the, a minute has gone off the clock. They've cleared West Main, maybe Dining, Trophy. I assume Solarium's been droned, and you have Bibu cutting off the 4 quadrant upstairs that Noodles just left. I say 4 quadrant, I'll explain this again. Top floor is essentially 4 quadrants. You have the piano, you have office, you have master, and you have bathroom and this little extension here. These are the 4 quadrants of upstairs. With Bathroom and Master, you can basically deny Solarium, but you only need Piano or Office to deny a push into the other one. But yeah. But yeah, Noodle leaves here. Koi basically just gives up that 4 quadrant. They've already wasted a minute. That's perfectly fine. That's very standard, very normal. And now we're in. It took them a while to get to this point, 1 minute. But I guess the ball is rolling. Excuse me. Now BB can rotate away or repel in. He's rotating away, probably main door. Alright, so the wall is reinforced. They're pinging it. I assume Shink is going to make his move his ass over here and try and get this wall open.
He's going to be looking to potentially hop out and back in of windows here, I think, just opening that up. But he's going to take the drone for the time being. Maybe going to pressure onto that library window as well. Here goes the Brava drone, just moving around underneath. You know, this is the thing is we focus so much on the clutch drone about how it can capture electronics.
And its horrible name.
We're not focusing on the fact that it can actually work as a drone. You know, on top of everything else, it's extra drones on your team.
Tick, tick, tick. Time is gone. 45 seconds. 45 seconds gone, and they have just naded Noodle. So Noodle's position, where is Noodle's position? Can we see where Noodle is? Probably by the top of the stairs, by the looks of it. Can't quite tell. Yeah, he's at the top of the stairs here. The Keeper barricade is still here. If you're going to nade, you want to get rid of the barricade. More than anything else, it makes playing on the stairs much harder. If you want to bypass the barricade and go straight for Noodle, you're going to probably have to throw a much more difficult nade or a much more riskier nade, depending on the positioning. Based on where Ayana is, I assume that she's here in one of these two people. Yep.
You know, you can just use them as drones as well, and it's
the same as Twitch. They are 2 extra.
Yeah, exactly. It's just extra drones on your team. You know.
And still, because there is no pinch, or no effective pinch, because Deadshot has only just gotten to this balcony with 1 minute left, we enter this awkward position where it's getting very cramped upstairs for Koi. But because of these Keeper barricades that aren't being cleared, you can have Cryan just chill here. Leon chills there. Keeper barricade still intact at the top of the stairs, so Noodle can chill there. You got 2 guys on, what, 2 guys on site? Nope, 1 guy's playing suicide. deepeY's playing really aggressive on the window.
Still trying to march their way forward. Speaking of Flores, it is a drone heavy round as well. Just rolling around.
So yeah, as Tara says there, Koi are, it's a little bit snug upstairs, but it's okay. The biggest thing here for Koi now is to not move. It can be really uncomfortable playing in a small area, like for example where Cryan is right now, but the correct answer for Cryan here is that so long as there are no indications that his Keeper barricade is going to get destroyed, as in like someone's throwing a flashbang at him or he's being droned, he is safe. He doesn't need to move here. Same goes for Leon. Same goes for Noodle. The only risky player right here is deepeY, who's peeking in the windows. So I assume very soon deepeY will have a firefight with Deadshot. And whether or not he wins that will probably dictate whether Cryan makes a move or a play.
You've got the Forest on side. I've seen Twitch now, and he echoes. We really have
so deepeY is gone. Mowgli gets Noodle. Cryan now makes a move to the hatch. Leon makes a move and dies. Cryan gets out. So I'm just going to rewind it back. Does deepeY need to drop? No. Excuse me. Where is Leon?
Speaking of Flores, it is a drone heavy round as well. Just rolling around. You've got the Flores on side. I've seen Twitch now.
I'm interested where Leon goes here. So Mowgli's in. Mowgli's making his push up now. He takes a firefight with Leon on the stairs. There you go. So Leon's on the stairs. So there's now a giant pillar between Leon and Mowgli. So this allows Mowgli to push up and actually make an aggressive play. The big thing here is that we're seeing more aggressive moves out of Mowgli than we are with Deadshot. So I would recommend to Wolf swapping those 2 roles around and get Mowgli on the entry more consistently, more often. Let Mowgli lead the charge and let Deadshot play more of these side positions. Just based upon this map alone, I know it's like a way too low sample size, but I've seen it 3 times now where Deadshot's been a little bit quiet on the push. So, because of Leon's movement here, he's essentially left a weird gap. I call it a weird gap because when you're a defender on Koi, or just a defender in general, you don't expect someone to peek from where Mowgli is here. Like, this is like, huh? How the fuck did this guy get here? I'm going to assume that they knew he was there because Mowgli had to take a firefight at some point with either Noodle or Leon, which is why one of them backed away. And this is also the downside of not having a shield here and having the Kiba barricade. The shield would obviously give you the slats that you can look through, and you get that peeker's advantage, essentially. But I would say that this is a rare case scenario where Mowgli has managed to weave himself into a weird spot. And it pays off because he gets one. And now, where is P4? I assume P4 is like main door? Hello, Dello. Where is P4? Oh, that's interesting. So P4 is actually under Leon. By the looks of it, P4 is going to jump in through the window below. Yeah, so P4 and Leon essentially like bump heads by the looks of it on the stairs, which is unfortunate. In this part of the round, in this late stage of the round, it's very difficult for the defenders to have a big grasp on everything. Like I said before, they're all been like really tightly packed into library. And falling back and falling off is difficult because you have to make it to the hatch. And I think if Deadshot was more aggressive here, he would have caught Crying. He probably would have caught deepeY. And this round would have been over much sooner than it is. But, like I said, Mowgli, weird position. Whether he got there by luck or chance or skill, it doesn't matter. He basically breaks 1/3 of the triangle. Leon breaks the other third of the triangle by going down the stairs. And then Crying is kind of forced to give up his position inside the library.
That's a strong start for Wolves.
Yeah.
This is what they needed. P4 gets one, but Leader leads the fight back as he finds that trade 3 versus 4. deepeY, Leader, and Crying have got it all to do though.
My camera's still alive on K9.
So far, Wolves did manage to find a way last time. Can they do it again? Just opening up those vertical angles, but time is ticking by.
Don't know if they know the deepeY's here as well. He's in a pretty good spot to watch that hatch from range where they won't be able to see him.
I'm pretty sure you can kill this guy where deepeY is. I think if you breach charge above this wall here and shoot down through this wall, I think you can get a decent angle on where deepeY is playing. But the way that it looks like Koi wants to win this round is with some one and done positions. So Crying is in a weird spot. From here, he will kill any player pushing long. Excuse me. And deepeY here is in a weird angle because he will kill any player that drops the hatch. Excuse me. Now we're playing the waiting game from Koi's side of things. They want Wolves to make the next move because Wolves have to make the next move. There's 20 seconds left on the clock, or just about. Wolves are going to open up as much of the floor as they can, so deepeY and Crying are both in positions where they don't think they can be shot from above. And you can see where Leader is. Leader is on the underside of where Crying is. So Leader here is holding the flank. And again, it's more of a someone is pushing down the stairs or someone is pushing short to long. And essentially going to walk into Crying's line of sight. Essentially what we have here is, I would call this an estranged crossfire, because no matter who fights, the other can help. So there's a good chance that Leader or Crying can trade one another. deepeY is the loose end here. He's the 1v1 that Wolves can get, or the 1vx that Wolves can find. And in these types of situations, dropping the hatch is rarely the play, unless you know that this possession is clear. So we know that from Koi's perspective, when they were on the attack, they always had this angle open where deepeY is. They had always breached this wall to the right side so that you could go onto the fireplace stairs. Or come up from the garage and just fight the guy inside of stock. But they didn't do it. Wolves did not try and achieve this, so deepeY gets a nice cheeky free spot. Okay, so this is another case of too much movement. Crying had a great angle. he had that great little weird crossfire set up with Leader, where they both could contest this long hallway. I think it's smarter for Cryan to move up a little bit more and give up this angle, or probably better to go back and give up this angle and just keep holding, just to try and keep holding a position where Leader can always trade him. Because if Cryan takes a firefight with someone inside of bar, Leader can't trade that. It'd be on meepeY to give up his position to trade that, which requires movement, noise, standing up from prone, can't shoot. It's a bit of a mess. Again, this is like talking about perfect siege. It's very nitpicky. It's very unlikely to ever become a reality in our time with the way that the game is played. But again, this is what I'm talking about by that strange crossfire, is that Leader's going to fight this 1v1, and at any time Cryan can swing the door here and help. But it doesn't matter because Leader just fucking one-taps him. But there you go. Off angle gets Cryan a kill, which is good. 2v2. meepeY caught out. This is really unlucky here. It's a hindsight thing, right? If Cryan pushes in through here, he wins the round. If he actually commits to this, he wins the round, I think. But unfortunately not. Hindsight's a bitch. What can I say?
He does. He's going to try and work from the hatch here. As he's got the vertical angle, just misses his man. Timing really hasn't been his friend in this 1v2, and just misses the.
So I'd say Wolves' idea of winning this round is misaligned, pretty heftily. You have Deadshot, who's playing very aggressive, and Shinka, who's playing very passive. So Deadshot here, if this kill holes above, he's dead, but he's just essentially going to hold both of the hatches. Whereas it would be good if Shinka would hold his hallway, because then you'd have all the angles covered. I'd say the player holding the hatch drop is more favored than the player dropping the hatch. And I think it's in Shinka's best play, it's in Wolves' best interest if Shinka is holding the long hallway here, because then that way all avenues are covered. Shinka will hear him come down the fireplace stairs or drop into bar, or Deadshot will do that either way. But Shinka is just going to hold a really passive angle.
Has to start working his way back down the main stairs, and they know where he's coming from. They're hiding around the side of the fireplace.
He wins the fight anyway. Shinka wins the fight anyway. But again, it's another instance of like, yeah, you got the kill. Yeah, you won the round. Did you do the right play? No. No, he didn't.
Shinka steps out and gets the kill, and Wolves take everybody at home. I just knew at the beginning of this that those are the sites that they struggle with. Those are the ones that he's going well, and he's.
To that round, I think Koi lost the round the moment they gave up top 4. They gave it up way too soon. I don't think they had any reason to fall back at that point. Bar is a strange bomb site, because usually I'd commend the play of giving up land and forcing your opponent to essentially have to clear it. Again, waste drones, waste time. But Bar lives and dies on whether or not you can secure above it. Why do players like Mowgli on ADS to look at the stairs? Kind of what Tamo says, like, yeah, your gun can block it. But I think that's just a misplay from a player's perspective more than anything else.
Have to be shut down. He's going to have Noodle in support, and they certainly have been a dynamic duo so far this map.
Haven't they just? Well, Noodle's going across to bring in along that Solus. We've spoken about it all night long, all of yesterday as well. Super disruptive to the attackers' plans, and truthfully, when you've seen quite a bit of Brava rolling around the map, I do not think.
So now we go into the next basement round for Koi, and this time they've made the kill holes here lower. So this is what I was talking about last time. You want kill holes that are a little bit higher than crouch high, but a little bit lower than standing high, so that when you place the shield on this opposite side, you can actually use the slits in the shield. So you can actually look at the breach. You can actually use it like a mirror window.
It is all a bad thing
but everything else looks the same.
Preventative measure. I commented on this earlier on, and when we spoke about it yesterday, Brava's got a really good gadget, but with Solus being the previous operator that came out that is still really strong in the game, it does somewhat reduce the effectiveness. If Solus wasn't a thing, suddenly we're having a very different conversation.
Wolves have sent a couple of players up onto the roof, I believe, so I would imagine they're going to be looking. You've got P4 out there by West Main, you've got one, B-Boot all the way up there, top floor, looking down to piano window, so they are acutely aware of this top floor. I don't think they dealt with it quick enough last time. This time they're going to play directly into it. They need to pick up those 2 kills though. It's Noodle and it's Crying that are up there. If they can come away with anything here,
Going up on YouTube, yes.
I don't think Crying just sees the drone there, he doesn't, so there's going to be at least a bit of information still in place for Wolves. Mowgli's getting aggressive.
Watch an invite, got you back into Siege, nice.
On playing on the stairs, being able to roll that
Oh, excuse me, sorry. I don't know why, but this Pepsi's killing me.
No, they won't have time to step forward, kill you, and not die to the grenade at the same time. So Koi continue to move.
So we have like the buddy system going again for master bedroom side. This is really common. A lot of teams do it. Buddy system for roaming is, in my opinion, the most important thing right now if you want to play that aggressive style. I think solo roaming is dead. I think if you're solo roaming, you are a free pick.
Themselves around the map a little bit here as well. Now, Wolves looking like the spot where they've got all 5 players alive. They haven't been disrupted in the early round. That sets them up well to start thinking about this execute.
He's going to make the push down.
So this round, I like Wolves' speed. I like where they've gotten to after a minute and a half. They're pressuring the bomb site from a few different angles and positions. This is what we needed earlier on in the game. This is the reason why Wolves was struggling so hard against what Koi was putting out from the defense rounds. I know they won a few in a row, but still, we need this level of aggression more often. Wolves could have won by now.
A little bit of a warning for them on site. Wolves are operating with a little bit of freedom here now. In goes a nade there, just looking to clear out any personnel or gadgetry that stands in the way.
Now, if I'm an aggressive piece of shit, and I'm an opportunist, the moment he nades this, the moment he nades that and doesn't get a kill confirmed, if I know that he's gone, and if I can get away with it on the breach, I'm going to go take that spot as a defender. He's naded it out. He thinks it's clear. I think this game is won or lost on your ability to play as a team, obviously, but also your ability as an individual. And taking risks is a big part of the game. I said it before, like, it doesn't matter what kind of risk you take. If you succeed at the risk, everyone hails you as like a fucking god. Twitch chat pogchamps. If you fail, people think you're dumb. Twitch chat lols. It doesn't matter whether you'd made the right choice or not. It's just how people perceive it. But the one thing that does matter is you actually tried to make a play. You actually tried to make something happen. You tried to do something. You can leave that on your own discretion on whether it was the right play to make or not. But you don't win 6 Invitational by default. You don't win 6 Invitational by turtling every round and playing super safe and sitting on your laurels waiting for the time to tick down.
Personnel or gadgetry that stands in the way. We can see the, I think it was the E1D scan there that was just pinging out a player across at the top of West Main, moving into kitchen. And
but I really like what Wolves have done this round.
It's going to give something.
They're in quick, which is really good. Really good. This is what they needed in the previous rounds. Deadshot's actually entering, and he's got a lot of confidence in his entry frags. And this is what we needed rounds ago. Now we're actually seeing Deadshot do his role.
This might be happening, Des. That's a big double from Deadshot.
I mean, there's 2 players still off site here as well, so Koi are really nowhere to be seen. It's essentially a 5v1.
I say it all the time. I'll say it again, right? I really want to get a top-down perspective if I can get one. I'm not gonna get one, am I? You're not gonna give it to me, spectator, are you? I'll say it again, right? Zoom up a bit. Okay, so well, I'm gonna talk about it again because I've got a bunch of new viewers. But it's the idea of pressure, because not all pressure is real. There is such a thing in this game called fake pressure. When we look at the positions of Koi, you have Deepak on the shield holding this breach. Given where Deepak is, given where he stood, and given the location of leader and the rest of the team, it is not perceived pressure. Yeah, Yeah, fake pressure, perceived pressure, it's what you feel isn't always the case. It's not hard to just drive a drone in and just put it underneath the boat or on this box or on the door and just look at deepak. And from here, this is obviously hindsight, but it's not out of the realm of imagination that you could just walk in the breach and just hug this right wall and just go straight into connector. I know there's a goo mine here, but wolves don't know that until meepeY hits it. But you can, like, the slats on this shield are shit. I'll point that out there. The slats on this shield are shit and they're very hard to see through. But you can just hug this right side, 2 people, and just walk straight in. Fragmite plays? Yeah, hell yeah. Hell fucking yeah. You just leave one guy here on this corner to hold blue, or you push a player down blue at the same time. You could easily walk in that. But anyway, back to the action.
That's a big double from Deadshot.
I mean, there's 2 players still off site here as well, so meepeY are really nowhere to be seen. It's essentially a 5v1 on site. The Wolves can win, and they pulled this game back from the 5v1.
But yeah, it's a good flood. Deadshot carried this round. I don't think anyone can disagree.
And they pulled this game back from the brink.
So the question is how do you win this as meepeY? This is hard. This is a very, very hard to win as meepeY. They essentially have to get as many 2v1s as they possibly can get. The first 2v1 they can get is meepeY here, who's playing way too aggressive. meepeY's post-plant position here is terrible. But he still wins the fight on Cryin because Cryin's a little bit late on the drop. And meepeY gets the gap as well. That's just bad timing for Noodle. That's unlucky. So Cryi's pushing solo here. Noodle is not. So again, this is just a disconnect with what one player wants to do with one player is actually doing. Noodle is working angles for picks. Cryin is pushing for picks. If both of them were pushing for picks, then I guess meepeY gets traded 1-for-1, or Cryin gets the kill. Or at least Noodle gets the trade. But I don't think meepeY win that anyway. If I'm meepeY, I'd time out. I'd time out here. meepeY still have the timeout. You've just lost 2 or 3 rounds in a row. This is timeout time. You're going into overtime. You're going on to attack, which obviously you're more favored for, but at the end of the day, you're starting on attack. You're only going to get 1 defense round, and if you lose this round, I suppose you could time out and talk about your defense and what you want to do. But realistically, now is the time to time out.
That's it, though. That's the name.
But I keep trying to say Professor Fresh, and it keeps mixing.
Can't blame him. Yeah, I don't blame Cryin either. Cryin made the right play. I think Noodle was in the wrong for playing it slow. I think Cryin needed to communicate that he's pushing, obviously, but I think Noodle needed to go with him and trade it. Looking good in your soup. Thank you, man. Gotta check them doors. Yeah. Only 1 cap can so far, I think. Noodle. No kills, though.
I don't know why it's such a real posh British person, but I've decided to use.
I love that you developed the accent.
It's got like a mustache and everything.
Here we go then, Wolves are on the defence. It's going to be kitchen and dining to start us off. We are into overtime, which means, of course, the point allocations will change. Winner gets 2 points, loser will get 1. So both are guaranteed something at least. meepeY will not come away from the first 2 play days empty-handed. That much is a guarantee, but there is still a lot to fight for. We've seen so far in these groups that every point is going to...
Well, I'm glad I gave you a new line to scream. Can't wait for a hat cap can kill him pro play. It won't happen. But it could be cool.
As many as they can get. Wolves are up on the top floor in terms of personnel. The site, of course, kitchen dining. But
again, this is becoming a staple. We're going to probably see for Chalet forever. Is the drone through the door to hack the camera. Oh, he's going straight for that Malusi. Yeah. Then the camera. Bravo's more useful for grabbing cams and pro play. Yeah, I talked about it in the first few rounds. Like, the most use you'll get out of Brava is hacking cameras to get information. You could hack things like the Melusi, Banshees, and things like that, but there isn't really a whole lot of useful things to hack. Excuse me.
Two, if you lose in overtime, you get one. If you lose in regulation, you get nothing.
So I think what KOI are doing here is pretty clever. Excuse me, this Pepsi, man, is killing me. I need to stop drinking it. So they're doing a library take, but I think what the big thing here is just establishing Noodle on short quickly. They've already got the Melusi. P4 has already shot the Melusi, so it just doesn't exist anymore. And here, this is the big thing, right? If I'm droning Noodle, I'm saying no one is in dining, or the guy in dining is by west main door, and then I'm pushing up. But instead, he's going to play this slower. Now, there's two situations that happen. Well, three technically. The third situation is like nothing happens. No one peeks this, and Noodle sits here for a minute and nothing happens. The best case scenario is that the player behind the bomb rotates towards dining, and then he's in a better line of sight for Noodle to just beam him down. The worst scenario is that P4 crosses to the bomb from the left side to the right, and Noodle maybe gets a couple of shots in his legs and gives his position up, and he's wasted his own time and doesn't gain anything from this. It's, in my opinion, once you drone this and you understand this, to get closer to the door, like you can slow crouch walk your way to the door, and all you have to do is just peek your head around the door with a hot drone and just kill P4 and then fuck off. Kill him and run away. Because that will cause a massive shake-up on Wolves' side. It'll cause rotates from above. It'll cause the player on site to move. And then you can actually take advantage of the situation as KOI. But let's see how it plays out.
The eventual winning team, they'd like to have all 3 points, but they let it go on too long. But for the loser, at least it doesn't sting as badly as taking away 0 points. So both teams are guaranteed at least 1. Now across these next 3 rounds of overtime.
It's option 3. So far, nothing's happening.
deepeY just opening up the office balcony window there, just again applying that pressure.
Like, he's still there. You can still see him prone here. But that's what they've established him to do. Now the drones comes, and now it's too late. He's given it up. He's wasted a minute, and then he's gone.
Halfway in the round yet, Des, and only just starting to open up those walls.
They are. I don't think they're too worried about this. So they've been doing their drone homework as best they can. Against the Solus especially, it's a real battle, you know. 5.
Don't want to judge too fast, but I think a little minor buff might help her a lot. Yeah, I think if she could just like fire and forget without having to like do the charge time, I think that'd be quite good. I think that'd be a buff that'd give her a lot more mobility and speed when using the drone, make it a little bit more fluid to use, less clunky. Maybe more charges could be good. 1 more charge, 2 more charges, whatever. She's got good guns, and her gadget's fine. Like, she's got smokes, so Para's a good gun. She has smokes, so she's good on that front. I honestly rather take Dokkaebi over Brava in this meta. I've really struggled to make it work because the siege is so fast now. It's hard not to be the last man standing by the time I've done something useful with her. Even if I can, my team is dead. Yep, and that's the reason why Dokkaebi's banned a lot in pro play. Dokkaebi is indisputably the best operator right now. Thought she has a fire and forget. You just zap the cam and drive off, or do you need to LOS? By the looks of it, I've not actually tested her yet because, you know, I haven't had a fucking reason to. I'm not on a team. Like, everyone seems to be shooting the gadget and then just kind of staring at it for a second. But I think if you just shot the gadget and you fucking walk away, you drive away, but the gadget is like instantly yours. There's no like waiting 5 seconds for it to become yours. I think that would be better. You just instantly hack a camera instead of having to wait 3-4 seconds, whatever it is. That would be better.
Drones have gone down here in the course of that first half of the round.
Yeah, Dokkaebi's great. Like, she has like what, like smokes and impact DMPs or some shit. She has the G6 Gone 6. And she has a DMR? Okay.
Both in equal measure. I would have said Leon is just going to be sending in the Brava drone spots out. They've absolutely no idea. The Solis gets seen.
I love that. I immediately love what P4 does here. This is a really good play. Right, he's in deep. This is literally a one and done spot. If he's caught here, he's fucked. He knows he's been caught here. So he immediately jumps out the window to try and catch anyone rotating to him. It's unlucky because no one's there, but yeah.
well played from Koi, not getting caught out there, using that utility.
No, I think Ace is looking at the wrong thing here. I think P4 should be praised for what he did. That was a really good play.
Well, I'm not sure that the Bravo drone was still taken out by P4 though.
It wasn't, no.
Which I would have to question. You've got to take that utility out. It's one shot. You've got to make sure it's gone.
Probably a little bit harder to see as well. I'm not more used to seeing the kind of circular drones, obviously, whereas this thing is quite literally more of a tank. Here we go then. Starting out on the trophy side of things will make this a little bit harder for the defenders to move around in.
Okay, so 40 seconds left. 5 versus 5.
Deadshot chooses to play the solar stairs side, where Noodle is now hanging upside down, waiting for a victim to approach.
One thing I will say before we get into the final 30 seconds very quickly is the Bravo drones do feel very fast. I will say I don't know whether
Probably because they're so massive.
I don't know whether it's just my terrible aim.
Is he going to do it? Is he going to commit the gravest sin known to defend a kind?
Or what, but they do seem very nippy.
Yes. Peeking out of the sight with 20 seconds left when you're not even been droned when your position is hidden. So now they know there's a guy in piano.
Shinka is going to pick up Leon, and that is a late opener there with only 50.
Shinka kills Leon when he goes in for the plant by the looks of things. Or at least inside of Fireplace. I think that's where Leon was. Going back a few clicks. Yeah, he was short by the looks of it. So, whatever. Yo, Plumber, how you doing, man? So Leon dies on short, I assume, around Fireplace. That's fine. That's just a 1v1. That's nothing crazy. And now, as I said before, Mowgli gave his position away upstairs. Deadshot is Alibi. Where is Alibi? Where is Alibi? Where is Alibi? I can't quite see where Alibi is. But I'm assuming he's made an aggressive play. Oh yeah, he's in Trophy. He's made an aggressive play and Leader's caught him. So we saw earlier Noodle established himself upside down on the trophy window, and I think that's where Deadshot was. It's a bullshit angle, unfortunately, for Deadshot. When you rappel upside down on the trophy window, it is so hard to counter. You have to hit the craziest headshot to kill Noodle. So I don't blame him for dying to that. It is unfortunate that Noodle established that line of sight, and no one from Walls really reacted on it. But it's like master bedroom window as well. It's once the guy's established, you got to hit a nutty shot to win that round. So Noodle does his job fine, gets the pick. As I said before, Mowgli peeked out of upstairs with like 20 seconds left for some reason, giving away his position. That's the one time where I say stealth is actually important. I would say P4's done a really good job here of getting himself into an extended position. And by the looks of it, Noodle is injured. I don't think you can get injured on rappel, so that means he's rappelled down and tried to jump in and has died because of it. Hello. Frost mat? Ah, there you go. Thank you. I didn't see the frost mat. His eyes are like staring at him. But yeah, P4 did a good job this round. He did a really good play earlier to jump out when droned, and he's actually managed to sneak his way up here. The fact that he's been able to like sleuth his way up here, like no one looking at that is like heresy. This is questionable from Koi. No one on the breach playing it aggressively. At least keeping an eye on it. I know that Leon died like 10 seconds before this, which was probably the person that they were hoping would keep this angle held. But you got two guys upstairs, one guy to hold the push from piano, one guy to hold the breach that they've opened. So man count is kind of looking a little bit strained right now for the main push of Koi. Noodle is going to jump in, and thank you, Wetfoot Bubba, for pointing out this frost trap because I didn't quite see. Oh, he had a firefight first as well, Noodle. You can see his health go down like one bullet. Right there, yeah. You saw his health go down by like a bullet's worth, then into a frost trap. But P4 has done a really good job to sneak up here. I think just the way that Koi has spread out their attackers has put them into a position where they aren't in a commanding push. They can't push here, basically. You end up having to have Deepak, do a lot of the legwork to make up for what's happened around him. Leader and Cryan are upstairs. I think you only really need one person up here. The moment Leon dies, one of those guys needs to give up above and just have the other guy trust that it works. Trust your teammate, or alternatively leave a drone that Cryan has apparently 2 drones available to him. So I'd hope that he could place his drones and someone could watch them. That's an option. And then he could give up above and just leave leader here. That would have worked really well. But it comes to manpower. More than anything, manpower. If someone is here, P4 gets traded. If someone is here, P4 gets traded. You could argue that Shinka trades the trader of P4. But yeah, P4 makes an aggressive play, pushes short. I do disagree with what P4 has done here. This was, I think, pushing it a little bit too much. He gets this kill here. If I'm him, I'd go prone here. I'd crouch up to here and I'd go prone here. Because I'd never fucking check this as an attacker. I'd never check this. But I get what he's doing here. He's trying to preserve the momentum and he's trying to always take one step forward. But I think he takes more of a leap than a step here. The P90 at this range is garbage, I'll be honest. But somehow, Koi got a few kills, but they can't plant. And this is another instance of sprint. Sprint, 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 sprint. If leader stopped sprinting, he kills Shinka. It's so nitpicky. It is sprinting though. But I understand why he's sprinting. I want you to look at the timer as I go through this frame by frame. Just immediately look at the timer now. 1 second, 0.6. That's the wrong way. Like, he has 1 second left when he sees him. It's the unfortunate reality that we can sit here and it's like a hindsight thing and be like, why are you sprinting? Oh my god, he lost the sprinting. But the reality is that it's understandable. I get it. I do. I understand it. If you're a perfect soldier, a super soldier, god of siege, mental wall hacks and aimbot, then you'd know to stop sprinting when you got to these kill holes and pray to whatever deity you worship that Shinka is available to be shot from these kill holes. That's the only chance you have of winning the round. Obviously, Cryin is here wallbanging him through the hatch. But yeah. It's unfortunate for Koi. But I think once P4 got into that sneaky position and Koi didn't rotate anyone down to help Deepak with the plant, I think that's GG. I think a lot of these rounds were decided. I think a lot of these rounds were decided 20, 30, 40, sometimes 60 seconds before the actual round itself is lost. And they're always the most interesting games to spectate and to analyze, because you can get to see like the beginning of the end before it's even happened.
Just behind them, and honestly thought for a few seconds we'd see a massive big brain play, not forgetting that of course you can see when a plant is going down as well. So he could have sat inside the smokes.
Thanks for the follows, by the way, guys. If you are new to the stream, hit the follow button. I'll be doing this a few times a week, hopefully, as long as my voice can sustain it.
The ace came charging for, he gets the down, Koya forced to scramble, and even in a 3 versus 1, the clock was not on their side, and Wolves take that win.
Here we go. I think I got it. Yeah.
Down,
Refresher. You've just got to really think about it before you and Danny.
I'll skip forward a little bit. Oh no, itchy nose. Ah. So again, Solarium take. Wolves really love their Solarium takes. That is the worst place. That is such a poorly placed Claymore. Coming to a meepeY Knows video near you in a few weeks' time. Perfect Claymore placement tips.
Do you and just one go into Koi? A Big focus on this north side of the building as well. Two players directly on the north and dead shot off towards the left. And one more
The only thing I care about is whether or not there's a player repelling on the main window, which meepeY is just about to go to. And I think that is a horrendous waste of utility from meepeY there. He impacts the barricade. Chinka's stood right here. Chinka could just shoot it. It works the same. But that is a waste of utility from meepeY. This is a big thing again that Wolves really like to do. And if you're an analyst looking at their VODs, this is the third time Wolves have just double repelled into Solarium. And every time they've done something a little bit different. First time they didn't have anything. Second time they naded and tried to push in at the same time. And then the third time they went with the Zofia to impact the door. Then double concuss and then impact somewhere. Yeah, they use all of it. Hello, Grimstone. How you doing, Grim? So he impacts, double concusses, and then impacts somewhere else. Impacts the corner. And again, so I want you all to give me a number, specific number, of all the utility Wolves just used, numerically, how much of that impacted Noodle? I'll play the clip again.
That's where the pressure is starting to build. It is Shinka watching in towards Trophy and meepeY on the double window. So a full solar side take. They are ignoring library. They are ignoring
0. My question is, where the fuck's the drone? Why is no one droning him? Where's the drone, Wolves?
everything is about the top.
If you're going to do a fast execution, it doesn't matter. Excuse me. If you're going to do a fast execution that isn't a rush, it doesn't matter when you do that fast execution. What does matter is that when you do it, you know what you're looking for and you know what the reason is. They know, obviously, that Noodle is here, right? They know that he's somewhere here. But where's the drone? Where's the info? They double concussed. Neither concussion popped, mind you. I just want to point out. Doesn't he need a drone? Just knew he was in closet, people got bang. Then why are they concussing then? None of the concussions hit him. If you want to concuss Noodle here, right, there you go. He gets a tiny bit of concussion. If you want to concuss Noodle here, and this is a tip for all of you, shoot your concussion this way. This way. You can put one over here, fine, but shoot it this way. And this is, again, a dry run thing, because if I concuss here, and I concuss through here, then that means he has to be stuck deep in the closet.
Starting to build it is Shinka watching in towards Trophy and meepeY on the double window. So a full solar side take. They are ignoring library. They are ignoring
all that, and none of the players were timed in it.
and meepeY on the double window.
Like, they did this big song and dance, they made a lot of noise, they made a lot of flash, they double repelled then after it.
So a full solar side is starting to build it is Shinka watching in towards Trophy and meepeY
Concussion, 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 explosion. Now the repel comes in. Now the repel in. It's like 3 or 4 seconds at a time. This is, again, a dry run thing. Go into a custom game and practice it.
everything is about the top side, but right now they're losing their head.
Bee-boo.
Library. They are ignoring Mez. Everything is about the top side, but right now they're losing their head. How has he got away with?
He gets nitroed, but hey-ho.
They are ignoring
Anyway, it ends up being like a 1-for-1.
but right now they're losing their head.
There's your 1-for-1. The nitro comes out and turns it into a 2-for-1. He Spider-Man dropped, yeah. But yeah.
With that, what on earth? But it's
So, Koi come away the better of this situation, obviously. I think if Wolves have timed, this is again something what this is like. least for me on Koi, getting people into custom games to practice this type of thing was a pain in the ass sometimes. But this just kind of shows that if you have these like kind of execution things that require a degree of timing, you have to practice them. You have to go into a custom game. You have to practice them as a team. It's boring, obviously, but it's the type of thing that can win you a round. And in Siege, what wins you rounds is not the default. You have to do crazy, kooky things. You have to take risks. You have to play with confidence. And you have to be confident in your team as well. Would it be better to have Zof in solo window? Yes, it would have had Zof on solo window. Yeah, it would have been better to have it there, yeah. That way you could ensure that you can get a concussion to where Mowgli is aiming here. Because the whole idea, right, is that you don't want Noodle to peek when Mowgli's peeking here. You don't want Noodle to poke his face in any of this. And concussing into here would prevent that, yes.
C4 comes through. Deepet finds his man, and Koi have the man advantage at least for now.
Koi so lucky not to lose another.
But this is good from Koi. They rotate away.
But managed to maintain 4 versus 3 here, and Wolves can count their lucky stars as well. That could have gone much worse for them. What a little mid-round clash we've just had there. It leaves 3 dead and only 7 left to try and close out the round. It's 4 versus 3. Koi with the advantage, but you really do feel like this is a site that they can hold on to. They've still got some pressure up there on the top floor that Wolves haven't been able to deal with. And
so this would be a bait play. Leader needs to bait Cryin. So Leader basically has to sit here, shoot some drones at the top of the stairs, and then he can fuck off. The big thing is to sell that they've given up the space.
How Wolves are going to proceed.
Absolutely. What I do like about that, though, is for Wolves, fair play to them. They committed hard to trying to force their way through this top floor. I've said for both teams, they've ignored roamers a couple of times, and it has bit them once or twice. So their go-to answer was to try and break it open. They've been punished by a good roam coming out of Koi, who may be able to force us into that.
And there you go. There's the sell. It's really good. Leader sells that he's on the stairs, but Cryin hasn't given up just yet. He kills Deadshot, which is great. Now it's a 4 versus 2. And now we fall into like counter clutch situations. Again, it's on Koi now to play in positions 1 where they can't be killed for free. When you're doing vertical bomb sites, the biggest one is pre-made holes. We already know that Koi has made pre-made holes in the floor. So the biggest thing is to not expose yourselves to those pre-made holes. It's to secure the flanks to your bomb site. And ultimately, like, you can give up the bomb site. You can let them drop the hatch. You can go for a retake. In fact, that's what I'd advise Koi to do at this point in time. I'd just give up the bomb site. I'd just send all 4 players into the basement. It's Extreme Siege, and not many teams play Extreme Siege. Put 4 players into the basement and just fucking AFK. And the moment that plant happens, you just take the 4v1. Shinka has to plant the diffuser, and whilst he's planting, he can't shoot. So it'll be on Mowgli to hit 4 headshots in like a second.
Taking down Deadshot as he comes through the rotate. His teammate just watching in full lifeless before his eyes. Only 2
So that's a 1v1. Mowgli loses it, but Leon wins it. It's another instance of like the wrong play with the right result. In typical fashion, you'd say, "Oh, nice job, great shot," but afterwards, you'd probably say that's not the play.
All the way to 15.
It certainly does as Leon picks up Mowgli. It's all up to Shink.
1v1, 1v1, kind of a 1v2, and then the 1v1.
1v4, we know that he's got the clutch capability in his locker, but it's unlikely in this situation. 40 seconds, so he's got plenty.
But he's made too much wiggle noise, as you saw just here. These 2 players will both literally turn and face him. Yeah, now they're both facing him. So he's made too much noise. Again, this is another instance of clutch situations. You have to go fast. If you don't go fast, then you give time. And when you give time to the defenders, it becomes your worst enemy.
40 seconds, so he's got plenty of time to work with, if nothing else, but he just can't find the angle. Koi are playing this super smart. They don't need to peek. They know they don't need to move. They've got all the angles covered, and there's
1v1.
no way. I was going to say they will peek out, but Leon does decide to have a go. Loses
1v1.
his life for it, but Cryin is there to mop up the spillage, and he will take the fight.
Hypothetical world, right? Let's say Shinka is the best player in the game. 1v1, win. 1v1, win. Now he's in a 1 versus 2 with 30 seconds left, or 25 seconds left. That's easy winnable.
They say they will peek out, but Leon does decide to.
Then all Shinka would have to do is wide swing the trophy window, get his 1 versus deepeK, and then he'll have a 1 versus 1 with leader for the final round, final part of the round.
I was gonna say they will peek out, but Leon does decide.
It's an instance of the wrong play generates the right results. You want to win the round, you want to kill Shinka, but if you go about it the wrong way, you build bad habits. And just peeking in 1 versus 1s is just not it. If you wanted to do this better, what I would have is I would have leader all the way back there, because we know that he's on the short door to dining, peeking these holes. And then the moment that he gets into a firefight, Leon swings. That's all it has to be.
All the angles covered, and there's no way. I was gonna say they will peek out, but Leon does decide to have a go, loses his life for it, but Cryan is there to mop up the spillage.
And leader's even holding the angle. You see it here.
His life for it, but Cryan is there
leader's even holding the angle.
to mop up the spillage, and he will take the final kill, and that puts it.
It's the last round. We know who wins. We know why they win. And we'll get on to that Kiva barricade when we see it.
If you're a gambling man, you'd probably fancy Wolves to win this one out, even with the small sample size like that. But let's see how things shape up, because I remember commenting on it previously, the realistic on the attack that you don't need to have both mirrors on site. One is plenty.
It is. You only really need one down in basement. It's going to be looking, as it always is, onto Snowmobile Garage. You know, sometimes it's fair to say.
So we know that's a mirror window.
Like your hacks than just keeping it in your pocket.
So again, Koi are going for a triple hard breach. That's fine.
Not having it out there at all. You know, if you put one that can just be opened easily, you're giving a free line of sight right into the heart of your defense usually. So absolutely, you know, if there's no.
Again, I'm not a fan of that mute jammer. It just literally does nothing.
no position there,
Yeah, you waste a grenade. You waste an EMP. Ooh.
get it on a different part of the map. Keep it in your pocket.
Like, at least put a fucking ADS there or something. Like, it's so half-assed. Like, why do you not have your Azami there? You know what I mean? Azami, block off the drone hole, bandit trick it. Bosh. Right? They waste EMPs, nades, everything. They get the wall open. There's a mirror window there. Now the mirror window has more impact.
You know, it's not an issue at all. But what Shinka's
I like the triple hard breach on basement. Yeah, I like the identity that it has. And I like that Koi plays into that identity.
smart. It allows
It's
Benjamin
important.
to play mezzanine. It aids him in keeping hold of library, and again, it just extends his defense to a point where Koi have got so much work to do.
Almost takes Mowgli's head for free there, but Mowgli fortunate to walk away with half of his HP. Now I'm going to try and move a little more gingerly back in towards site, but it's Bibu starting things out with the entry, and it's onto the Thermite who...
So what, Bibu peeks here, gets the kill?
But it's away with half of his HP.
No, he kills him actually trying to lurk down blue.
I'm going to try and move a little more gingerly back in towards...
Okay. I'm curious.
It's him in keeping hold
Yeah. Oh,
of library.
Bibu's pushed up
And again,
far.
it just
That's why.
extends this defense to a point where Koi have got so much work to do.
Almost takes Mowgli's head for free there. but
Oh no, he's
Mowgli
fucked off down
fortunate
basement.
to walk away with half of his HP.
How does Bibu get this kill? Where does he shoot the guy? Where's deepeK?
Now I'm going to try and move a little more gingerly.
I don't know what happened there.
But it's Bibu starting things out with the entry, and it's onto the Thermite, who's already done his job, admittedly, Tim, but it's still a pick regardless.
It is a big pick. Obviously,
Kill him at the breach? Oh, okay.
His job, admittedly, Tim, but it's still a pick regardless.
It is a big pick. Obviously, they've got Leon on side. And
Again, Koi, open up everything. It's the same as before.
they've got
To rewind back to this point of view.
position there. Get it on a different part of the map. Keep it in your pocket. You know, it's not an imp site.
There we go. So right now we have Shinka alone on the bomb site. This is another instance of, like, to copy Artifacts Warden, perceived pressure or fake pressure. The mirror window is very imposing here because obviously you have no cover to go in. But the thing is with Koi, if they had just gotten some drones in blue, they could just push the site, yeah. it's another instance of like one thing that Wolves struggled with in the previous rounds is identifying that they could push the site sooner than they thought they could. And this is an instance where you could easily flood the site. Easily flood the site. This would be like prime rushing material. But again, as we keep skipping 5 seconds at a time, the only threat now is Bibu in blue. Shinka's glued to his mirror window. But again, Koi, same thing as the previous time they attacked basement, open everything up.
But he's going to need a little bit of support to get us. To get new jammers cleared, yes, frags would start clearing other angles out, they will get there, but it's a risk. It's a risk is the key.
Blue is the problem here as well. You try and go for these, you are in trouble, but with the hatch on side, now it's opened up as well. They should be in a good spot to get those off so that we can see Trench opened up.
Koi on the rotate. So we know how this round goes. Yeah, there's the diffuser down, so that's where you kill them, fair enough.
Try and look for potentially a push to come in through this main breach. Of course, the one thing they're really missing here, though, Tim, is the two smokes that would have really helped them to get through the mirror.
Nothing happening, nothing happening. So again, this is another instance that I talked about earlier on in the stream, like a few hours ago. Fuck me, man, we're doing this for 4 hours. When nothing is happening, you have to start talking about what could be happening, or specifically what you're not hearing and what you're not seeing. So for example, in Mowgli's position, or the person that's covering Mowgli's ass, yeah, P4 on mute. It's like, alright, I'm not hearing anything around me, I'm not seeing anything around me. They're still locked into the basement.
Through the mirror, with Thermite offline, those aren't an option.
I was just wondering what had ended up with Deadshot.
And there's the losing move, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
And it was a smart play because we've seen a lot of pushes towards the front side of the site.
So now we've got Leon up here. Leon is exposed, he gets peeked, he gets double peeked. That was really good. That was really good. Cryan. So Cryan pushes in at the same time as Leon. So here is an instance of where I think Koi could have done a little bit better. Cryan is out of sync with Leon. So this literally just needs to be a 3-2-1 go for Cryan and Leon. And I think that would have been... Yeah, that's a really good way of wording it. When everything is alright, something is wrong. Something is happening. The enemy team's talking about what they want to do. So Leon has made a solo play here. I think if he coordinated this with Cryan on the main door, as we know, if Mowgli looks to the left, there's big kill holes here. So Cryan walks in at the same time Leon walks up the stairs, and you can pinch the dining guy really efficiently. They didn't have, I don't think they knew that P4 was hiding, but they definitely knew where Mowgli was, because Mowgli is shooting the walls, he's making noise, and let's be real, it's expected that there's a guy in dining when you're defending basement.
I was just wondering what had ended up with Deadshot's position, because of course he started on Mezzanine, and it was a smart play because we've seen a lot of pushes.
So yeah, definitely this is an instance. Cryan peaks with Leon. I do think... isn't Deadshot in pillar though? But if Cryan walks in and just goes for the trade, it's worth taking the risk. It doesn't matter if there's a guy in pillar. You can also hold the guy in pillar with a guy on K9 if you wanted to.
Besides, so he was then in a position to play because we've seen a lot of pushes towards the front side.
Deadshot is sight. There you go. But yeah, Cryan and Leon definitely needed to play together here.
He was then in a position to...
But that was a really good double pick from Wolves. Leaders below, as we already know. Deepak is dead. And Noodle is rotating with the diffuser. But Cryan does walk in now and gets 2. That was a great time to pause. If Cryan was here 2 seconds sooner, 3 seconds sooner, I think Leon's still alive. I think Koi wins the round in a more commanding fashion with more people alive. But Cryan does a really good job of getting them kills here. Bibu kills Leader. I assume from this perspective that Leader pushes in from Car Garage. And I think Bibu just wins as one.
He's going to pick up Leon. Cryan manages to find P4, and this needs to be the start of the fight back for Koi, and it will be. Kills come in. One goes in either direction. 2 versus 3. Time ticking back.
Oh. Not heard that in a while.
Loving the analysis streams.
Fuck, that's loud. Thank you very much. Ozea92, thank you very much for the $10. Loving the analysis streams. Thank you very much. I love you for being here. So, this round, as I've said before, the Rainbow Six Siege in this day and age is not won by playing default. It's not won by playing normal. It's won by taking risks and being a pain in the ass. I don't know how else to word it. If you're stood still holding angles waiting for the defenders or the attackers to make a mistake, you're going to be waiting for a very long time. You can play around forcing the opposing side to make a mistake, but if you're not proactive, then you're reactive. So, Noodle runs in, it's spotted by Shinka. The sound call is a little bit late on Deadshot, so he's going to peek. And I think this is just Noodle hitting the shots. He gets 2 hits here. Now, this is so nitpicky. But I remember thinking this when I watched it first time. When you are planting here, you never face connector. Always face the drone hole. It's so nitpicky. I know it's so nitpicky. But if you sit like this, your head now pokes out from the bin. Not around the bin, but from this bulletproof shelving unit here. The head does stick out a little bit, but it just makes it much more easier to instantly kill you. I know it doesn't really impact what happens here, but if you face the drone hole, you can still be shot from connector, even if you're facing connector. That doesn't matter. The big thing is when you get peeked from blue, or when you get peeked from the mirror window. If you're facing the drone hole, there's a higher chance that they shoot you in the back, which of course counts as a body shot, but there's also a chance they hit you in the shoulder and arm, which counts as an arm shot, giving you that little chance of staying alive a little bit longer. It's so nitpicky, but I see it done so many times. But yeah, your head also does poke out like that, which allows meepeY to get the headshot. But yeah, as you can see, you poke out. It's nitpicky. He could still shoot you if you're facing the drone hole. It's just that he's going to hit your back, not your head. You don't need this barricade here. I know why this is put here. It was put here so Deadshot could play more aggressive and get a really crazy off angle and surprise people. But it negates the mirror window. It actually takes away from the mirror window so much that it makes the mirror window almost redundant. If you do want to place your Kiba barricades, I'd probably place them around the bomb to the left. So like around here, so you could play on the bomb safer, and that doesn't take away anything from the mirror window. It didn't know about the Azami on the snow bike, yeah. But that's the thing though, like if you don't have set locations for your Azami barricades, then your Azami players will get crazy and they'll get creative. It's unlucky, meepeY. I get it. But this is the beauty of the game, is that you can get very, very creative, and Deadshot made a play. Like, he did exactly the reason why he put it here, which is to play on it. This is, in the big grand scope of things, what Deadshot did here is perfectly fine. The problem is that he just doesn't hit his shots. He gets the sound call, or he gets the call from Shinka a little bit too late. It doesn't matter. He's dead anyway. The moment Noodle gets here, he's dead. But in hindsight, hindsight's a bitch. Hindsight is 20/20. Hindsight is always right. Just put the Kiba barricades on the bomb if you want to play up front and more aggressive. But I get why he did it. I commend him for doing it. I think what he did was, in the heat of things, fine. It's just that on reflection and analysis and VOD review, it just took away from the mirror window. You know, you give Noodle, who didn't... Noodle didn't know there's someone behind this barricade. Just based upon his reaction. He actually does this to get an advantage on the mirror window. But anyway, he just hits his shots.
It's 1v1.
And Cryan's got no HP left. A body shot from Bibu is enough, but he's making use of the Kiva barricade. I did wonder when I saw it. Is that smart? My answer would be no. Cryan comes on.
Unlucky.
He takes the fight. And Koi, smart. My answer would be no.
It's unlucky. Like, you're forced here to shoot the drone because the drone sees you, and when you shoot the drone, it gives Cryan the cue to peek. It's probably not on purpose. It's an accidental synergy, but yeah. That's the game we play. That's crazy. We've been doing this now for 4 hours, 20 minutes. It's the smoke weed every day number. Haha.